Opa! Welcome everybody to Stavvy's World, 904-800 Stav. Another, you know what it is. You know where I'm sitting on the couch. I'm on the guest couch because you're the host of these episodes, 904-800 Stav. Me and my boy Eldis back in the mix after taking a bit of a break. And I said, you know what, Eldis, you know what we got to do as soon as we get back in the fucking studio? We got to talk to these people direct, okay? We can't be fucking... We can't have this chasm between us of pre-recorded voicemails. I need to be speaking to my beloved, beautiful fans directly through Discord, through the app. Like I said, I've never used, but through the app that turns children trans or into Japanophiles or both, from what I understand of it. So we're back just for you guys, a little Patreon where we're going to talk directly to you. And we figured, let's catch up. I took a little break. I went to Baltimore. It's been a couple weeks since we've recorded Eldis. I went for a kind of little health sabbatical, usual thing I do with my brother. I blew it big time on this one. I don't know about you. I don't know what the fuck you did with your time off, but I went to Baltimore and immediately hurt my wrist, immediately hurt my back. I was just walk. I was the 15,000 step bastard. Couldn't get to 20K because my fat feet were hurting too much. And then I just kept I just had to work a lot, which I wasn't expecting. I tried to take the time off, but I got involved in some cool projects. I'm working on something that I can't wait to announce. A couple things I can't wait to announce. Obviously, there's a special coming soon. We'll have specifics on that soon, but also I was in another really big project this year that we're still working on that took a lot of my attention that, again, can't wait to announce, but it took up a lot more of my time than I thought it would. And I ended up basically just being in Baltimore and just and the fucking Airbnb I rented didn't even have, the AirPlay wouldn't work. I couldn't watch movies. It was like an old first generation, smart TV. Oh God. And it was like a brand that doesn't exist anymore, Google's own. You could only log on to YouTube and Netflix, and Netflix would buffer. You couldn't even fucking watch Netflix. So I ended up watching, I was like, I'm going to go to Baltimore. I'm going to work out. I'm going to eat healthy. I'm going to watch a bunch of movies. I might even work on a screenplay or two. I'm going to go be a new man. And I did none of that shit. I was watching all the Mission Impossible movies on my laptop. I got to hang out with my family, which was nice. I got to see my brothers. We had a couple fun little family dinners, but I was traveling a little bit too. So it was not restful at all. I don't feel healthier. I did stop smoking weed, but we're doing a Kush Brothers episode in a couple hours. So there goes 3 weeks of sobriety for you people. So I did have to take some nice walks in Fells Point by the water. That was kind of cute. But yeah, I really fucking blew it on this little health sabbatical. I would have been a lot better off just staying home and, I don't know.
What happened? Do you think you tried to jump in too hard with the exercise?
I think so. It was
You're working out like it's March 2023 here?
I think my brother didn't want to admit how much of his hard work I had completely thrown down the drain. I think my brother, it was the rare time where Nick thought I was in better shape than I am. Usually he assumes the worst for me, but he just wasn't prepared for how fucking not strong I had gotten. And honestly, in the space of 2 months, I was still working out right up until the special. And then since the special, I really fucked up. And so I think he had me bench pressing. And that day I felt so powerful. And then I woke up and my wrist hurt so bad. And it wasn't even the bench press. It was my weak ass wrists. It wasn't even holding the actual weight. And I think my brother just couldn't admit what a fat piece of shit I was. And then I went to do more fucking workouts with him, and it was just he's also busy as fuck. And it was just the vibe was just a father who's fat son, who had a fat gay son in theater who got cut from I was Bobby Hill basically. And my brother wasn't Hank. He was just a mad guy from Texas that was, pissed off his son was a fat gay man. So... Yeah. But what are you going to do, man?
That reminds me of when we were in LA, we went to work out and I was like, oh man, I just want to feel good about myself. I'm gonna hit some dumbbell crunches.
Yeah.
And I try to crunch at 25, and then for like 3 weeks after that, I just had like the most inexplicable pain in my elbow.
Yeah, just your elbow from curling at 25. Yeah, I know you don't want to do that shit. That's the biggest sin a fat man gets is thinking because you're fat as shit, you're also strong. It's like, no, you're weak with fat on top. You're not strong. So, and then I tweaked my back. It was a fucking mess, but you know, whatever. We're back, baby.
Yeah.
You know, no big deal. It's not like we're going on a fall tour.
Yeah.
Right away. I'll probably be fine.
Yeah, the habits will probably change in time for that.
The habits will change in time for the tour, and definitely on the tour they'll change.
And you'll probably have a restful summer next summer.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I probably won't have to do a lot of promotion for my special that comes out later this year. It'll probably be fine.
It should be a chill fall winter season.
Really chill fall winter season. Please, God, don't take me. Let me see 2024. That's all I ask. If you deliver me to 2024, Lord, I will change my ways. What did you do with your little 3 weeks off, little buddy?
I try to take it a little easy. I'm a little concerned for my health as well. Yeah. So I'm not even kidding myself with the gym right now. I'm just hitting the fucking yoga routine.
I love it.
And trying to just stay on top of eating.
Fuck yeah, dude.
The yoga's been pretty nice.
I might need to get on that on yoga.
That's the awesome thing about being so fat. It's like you could do anything. That's any physical activity, and you'll see some progress.
You'll see a little progress.
You could ride that for a good 30 to 40 pounds before you really need to think of an exercise plan. Yeah,
I know, dude. I know. I wish I would just do literally anything, but I got the Fitbit back on. What do we got today? I hit this morning. I hit 6K. After this pod, we'll do another 6. Get us to the 15. Like I said, I'm the 15K the 15,000 step bastard. I might need to get some yoga because my back, I'm starting to get that just being fat and stiff. I've been waking up with the first thought every morning is like, damn, that was a good workout. And then I'm like, no, you didn't work out. Your body is falling apart. I'm in pain as if I've been lifting weights, but I'm just fat. I'm just fat and just sleeping on shitty beds. I'm happy to be back. That's the other thing, dude. I have a mattress specifically designed for the obese. And so when you go to an Airbnb, dude, and they got that flimsy-ass mattress, I need this shit nice, dude. So
that's brutal. Also, I'll say if you run an Airbnb, invest $25 in the new Amazon Fire Stick. If you got some shitty old streaming, they're like so cheap.
Thank you,
and
Eldis.
that it like a little TV will keep an Airbnb very happy.
It sucked. All I wanted to do was fucking work out and watch movies, and I basically did almost none of that. But we're back, baby. I got a couple weeks. We're podcasting, and then we're going to Greece. Eldis is going to Albania, and then he's going to meet me in Greece. We're spending a little time there. We got a nice bunch of friends are going. My cousin's getting married. We're making a nice trip out of it. So we got a little time to get in the fucking zone. We'll see, That's the kind of thing. That's the thing about this show. You guys got problems, we got problems, and we're open about them here. I put myself on display for all to see, flaws and all. Go O's, by the way. The Orioles are actually good. I haven't been paying attention to baseball at all, and I was in Baltimore, and everyone was talking about the Orioles, and I was like, what the fuck? We're going to the playoffs? So shout out to baseball. It's not gay anymore because Baltimore is good. But the second we're bad, it's gay again. Anyway, folks, that's a little catch up. We really have some great episodes for you. We've recorded a couple before, and we've got some dynamite guests coming up. Like I said, including our second Kush brothers. No Jamel, but we have JP and friend of the show, Anthony DeVito, will be inducted into the Brotherhood of the Kush Brothers.
I feel like if it's a Kush Brothers, that Jamel's spirit is in this.
We might have to FaceTime him. But I like the idea of only certain people are inducted into the Kush Brotherhood.
Absolutely.
So we're very happy to get Anthony here. I like getting people who either smoke a ton of weed or don't smoke that much weed, and they'll be very high when they smoke it. I can't wait to go buy some pre-rolls from the bodega so that we can all get fucking zooted and maybe eat some Greek food. But that's a couple hours away. What we have now is me and you, baby, for the next hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever it is. So, Eldis, why don't we take some calls from our friends? I know it's a Monday. Look, we're going to... the next one we do these, we should do off hours. We should do either a weekend or late at night. Maybe we'll do like a Sunday one. Who knows?
Someone mentioned that. They were like, why are you guys doing it during work hours?
That's fair.
Yeah.
Those are fair criticisms. In fact, I will go so far as to promise this. Because me and Eldis, we like to record in chunks. We're busy men. We're going on vacation. We're going on tour. We should sneak one more of these in on a weekend before we go.
Yeah.
So we'll do one more for our weekend bros. Sorry about that. But we do want to talk to everybody. So thank you for the fucking deadbeats and lowlives with nothing going on who can talk to us on a Monday here at 2 p.m. So without further ado, why don't you fucking patch through our first piece of shit with nothing going on in their life?
Let's do it. Regrinzel? Hold on.
Uh-oh, Eldis fucked up. He thought because he did it right the first time, he couldn't possibly fuck up.
Fuck.
Regrinzel. Can you hear us, Regrinzel?
Can you hear us?
I heard the brum.
I did too. Hold on, Regrinzel.
Eldis, sucking cock.
Regrinzel?
Regrinzel, are you there?
Fuck.
Can you play anything through the thing? What do you think it is? Eldis is now feverishly unplugging and replugging wires.
Hold on.
That's coming through.
Okay, so
Regrinzel is just fucking our ass?
Regrinzel, are you on mute on your phone or computer or anything? All right, hang out, buddy. We can't get your call to work right now. But it seems like it's not our fault.
Well, we don't know that, Eldis. You're the one concluding that. I'm kind of betting it's our fault. Let's try another call, and then we can. If that one works, then it is Regrinzel.
Okay, one sec. Incel Daddy, are you there? Fuck.
You fucking idiot.
Give me a second, Incel Daddy.
Regrinzel's like, what the fuck did I do? They can't even hear this shit.
They can hear. They were responding, but
just in your headphones or what?
Oh fuck! Wait.
Eldis has figured out what he's done wrong.
No, it wasn't that.
No, it was not that, folks. Let's see.
Okay.
So Incel Daddy and Regrinzel. The evidence is mounting that it is your fault, Eldis.
Hold on.
I could feel this in my bones. Because the first one, that's coming through. Because the first one we did, shockingly no hitches. I was like, wow, good for Eldis. And I could feel it in my heart you were going to take that for granted and just thought you were ready to go.
Regrinzel, can you hear now? Or can we hear you? No, we cannot. Wait one sec.
What about the fucking board, motherfucker? Do a little, any of that? Nothing? Papa! Yeah, okay, that's coming through.
It's not the board.
All right, if you say so.
Hello, Regrinzel?
Hello.
Oh, Regrinzel, sorry. Could you hear all that was going on? Eldis fucking this up?
Yeah, I can hear it.
My bad.
Well, the important thing. What'd you fix, Eldis?
It was just the output on Discord. It must have changed from whatever.
That's okay, man. No worries. Regrinzel, thanks for calling in, my friend.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for taking my question.
Of course. So what's going on? What's going on, little daddy? Let us know.
All right. So I got divorced on amicable terms
a
little over a year ago after 6 years with my ex. And now I'm feeling like I'm in a place to re-enter the dating pool.
Okay.
But I'm facing an issue where I feel like my standards are way too high to see any kind of success in dating.
Okay.
Because the thing is, I was already punching way above my weight with my ex, who objectively, I truly believe is a stone cold 10.
Yeah.
Right? And myself, currently, I'm at best like a 5, maybe a 5.5.
Yeah. Are you hearing what you're saying, by the way?
I lost some weight.
You said, okay, let's take if out of the picture. because you're not. You have this is like whenever I'm about to go. For example, I'm about to go buy a suit for an event. Okay, if I have done this in the past where I'm like, you know what, let me buy it a little smaller. I'll be by the time this event comes around, I'll be less fat. Guess what? I'm always fatter. So it's not, let's stay where we are. You're a 5 right now. You got lucky. Yes. You got some 10 pussy, and now you're in the world fending for yourself.
Correct.
Okay.
So my question is, how do I reset my expectations for finding a long-term partner that's more in my league?
Sure. Okay. Great. Interesting question. Do you mind? So, do you mind if I get a little background here? How did you bag this 10? Where did you guys meet?
We were in college together. We had mutual friends, so we had exposure to each other, sort of in a low pressure friend setting, and she actually pursued me, which was new to me.
Yes.
So
yes.
I felt like I had struck the lottery.
I know exactly what happened here. If you had seen this woman at a bar, no chance you get to fuck her because you're nervous, whatever. But you got 100 low pressure attempts to slowly let your personality seep through and charm her and win her over. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah. Correct. Additional context, too, is that we were both raised Mormon and we actually met at BYU. So,
oh, my God, dude, come on.
More like... We left the church.
Did you soak
while we were dating?
Did you soak your now ex-wife? Did you and your now ex-wife ever soak?
I have a thing about the whole soaking urban legend getting out into the world.
Okay,
but
you don't want to be a part of the propaganda.
No, the soaking thing is what happens when like a funny urban legend escapes. Sort of the origin,
the community.
And so you're constantly. I don't want to like be the guy that's like correcting, being like that doesn't actually happen.
Please,
but it doesn't actually like happen.
Okay, so what did you have premarital? Then
sorry, wait, what is soaking?
Soaking is the urban legend. Yeah, I mean it is ridiculous. The idea that to not have sex, Mormons put their hard dicks in a pussy, stay there, and someone jumps on the bed so that somebody else provides the friction, and you're technically not fucking in the eyes of Mormon God, who I guess is a fucking idiot, who's like, well, he's not pumping. He's not pumping, so it's not premarital sex. Okay.
What I'll say is that yeah.
Go ahead. No, please.
No actual believing Mormon actually believes that it's a legitimate loophole. If you believe in it, you'll feel guilty for whatever you do in a sexual context.
It sounds kind of awesome.
We dated.
Yeah.
We had doubts about the church by the time we started dating. We left. And so, we had premarital sex.
Nice,
but we didn't feel guilty about it.
Congrats. All right, I see what's going on here. Yeah, you were shooting fish in a barrel, basically. And I'm going to guess you kind of locked it down. You kind of were like, let's get while the getting's good. Let's get a ring on this and let's just fucking... Do you think you what do you think happened? You guys just got married too young, or what do you think it was that... You said it was amicable.
I think so. She sort of has an avoidant relationship style. Her walls are pretty thick. So I think after moving out on our own into the real world, living together, we were together for 6, married for 3. She got to a point where she comes from a background where her parents are still together, but there's no love between them whatsoever, and there hasn't been for even since the time she was born. Right.
Classic.
So she saw her parents who stay together no matter what, and it's sort of miserable.
For both of them. So she's seeing you microwave chicken pot pies, eating Hot Pockets, gaming, staying a 5. Yeah. And she's like, this is fine. Until one day you got too fucking tubby. You were spilling out of that medium and wouldn't buy yourself an XL. And she had a moment where she's like, I got to get the fuck out of here. What the fuck am I doing?
Exactly, yeah.
Well, look, it looks like you have a good, you got a good outlook on it. And yes, you are absolutely fucked. Those were wild circumstances. But here's a couple things. In terms of resetting your expectations, whatever your standards, look, the market is going to correct you, brother. All right? You're going to be out there. You're going to be fucking taking a beating. You're not going to be getting any pussy. And those 8s and 9s that you're aiming for are going to go down to 7s. It's going to hit you on that side. And then on the other side, if your will is strong enough, you're like, well, let's get myself up to a nice 6, right? And here's the other thing. You're very lucky. I'm very lucky. Eldis is very lucky. We live in a society where it's weighted towards a fucking man, right? So, yes, you are probably a fucking tub of shit. But guess what? That doesn't mean you can't continue to punch above your weight. You just need to kind of believe in yourself a little bit. And look, maybe make some... I'm not telling you to not improve yourself, right? You don't have to go full divorce, midlife crisis. You don't have to get plugs and Invisalign and a fucking Camaro, right? You can just kind of work out a little bit, get slightly better clothes, and not go crazy. But if you improve yourself, you start kind of having a little more self-esteem. I think that will help you get closer to your standards, and then the world will kind of knock you into reality if you continue to try and bag, girls hotter than you, and you continue to fail. So it's kind of a two-pronged approach that I think one will take care of itself because you will just not get matches on Tinder or Bumble or whatever. You'll get rejected until you lower your standards a little bit. And the other one, you have to be proactive and just kind of improve yourself a little bit. Even if it doesn't make that much of a physical difference, it will make a difference in your self-esteem, which will then help you believe in yourself more and then play the rigged game of, being a man who, if, I don't know, do you have a good job too? Like what's your setup right now?
I have a good job for myself. It's nothing that's going to pull in. I have to get promoted a couple times.
Yeah, well, look,
making the kind of money that moves the needle.
Yeah, by the way, you don't want to be that guy either. This was like, you had a hot woman that, were you like a breadwinner, or was it like a same situation? You were both kind of working at the time.
We moved to California with a focus on her career, and I was got whatever job I could.
Oh,
and so
fuck.
This
is so funny.
I found a great job that has a lot of potential.
Oh my god, dude! There's just a producer laughing about you.
Too little, too late.
Dude, I'm so sorry, dude. You have one of the most classic stories of all time. Just the fucking schlub that gets a piece of ass in college, and his wife moves to, I'm guessing, do something in entertainment, and people just see you guys walk into a cocktail party, and some guy starts licking his fucking chops. Some B-movie producer, some reality TV show director. Oh my god, this guy's like, they almost feel bad. They're like, I hate to do it to him, but it's coming.
I knew it was a ticking time bomb.
But you were all over
my heart, truly.
But dude, honestly, that's a beautiful ride you had. Like you got like college, those 9 years, whatever it was, 6 whatever years, they were, you know what I mean? You were, it was nice, dude. You figured it out, and it probably helped you kind of mature, and now you're kind of in a place where you probably are ready to, also going through all that Mormon shit and going to BYU. You guys were there was a lot of, I'm guessing your families are kind of weird and fucked up. You're good. You came out of this unscathed, and now it's a matter of just, you know what I mean? Starting over, kind of building your way up, and just, making and here's the other thing. Obviously we're shitting on you, but you're a charming guy. You did get this woman over time. You did put yourself in a position where you were going to where you kind of hit it off, and that can happen again, right? Like you can still punch above your weight. You still have it. I think this is more of a believing in yourself thing, and just kind of getting back from the divorce, and as amicable as it can be, that still fucking sucks, and you still kind of, you were in a nice position. It would have been nice for you if in a perfect world, this relationship works out for you, right? Like this first relationship. You're still taking a loss and you're rebuilding. So, and a year is, honestly, dude, in the grand scheme of things, a year is not that much time after a divorce like this. And you probably won't even be seriously dating or ready to seriously date for, who knows, up to another year, right? Like, you're kind of rebuilding here. And so I just think you just got back in the game. You are calibrated. You're calibrated to, what it used to be. Like, you're used to playing the game on rookie, and you're out there, and now it's somebody set it to all Madden, right? And so you'll learn. You're going to take your lumps. You're going to lose 43-3 a couple times. You're going to have a couple embarrassments, and that's just how it goes. And eventually you'll figure your shit out, and you just kind of, you'll come back and you'll build back, and you'll be fine, dude. It's just a matter of time. You have other men, weaker men in your position would be, looking up how much they got to run the oven. You know what I mean? Other weaker men in your position would be buying duct tape to seal their garage and letting that Hyundai Elantra run, if you catch my drift. So you're doing pretty good, all things considered, for how much you lost. So I think you're fine, and you just gotta get out there. The standards thing will take care of itself, and you seem to be, like I said, you have a good attitude about this thing. You're clearly a charming guy who got this girl in the first place, and you just got to kind of get out there and meet people. And the reality is, you never had to do dating, right? You kind of met a great person that you hit it off with. And so you just kind of have to go through that, and that just sucks, dude. Even if you aren't coming off a divorce, there's a lot of trial and error, and there's a lot of getting your fucking teeth kicked in, and some shitty dates, and people who don't look like their picture online, and you don't look like your picture. There's just like a lot of fucking up that happens. And once you get through that, you'll settle in, you'll meet somebody you like. And who knows, dude, I think another fun thing could be going completely outside of your, like, comfort zone. I mean, meeting a Mormon girl at BYU after you grew up Mormon, it's like, all right, dude, there's fucking other types of bitches out there. You know what I mean? Like, get a little variety. You know what I mean? Date someone who doesn't speak English very well. You know what I mean? Like, go out there, find your zone. You'll be all right. And just as long as you're feeling like your whole, you gotta as long as you feel like your life is good, like you've rebuilt, you have you have a little foundation, you got a solid place, you have a solid job, you're working on your career, you want to get promoted a couple more times. As long as you feel like you've built that up after a divorce, after something that really fucks your whole life up, like completely changes everything, that's more important, right? Like, feel like you're standing on solid ground, and then just kind of start going on a couple casual dates and figuring it out. I mean, that's more important than even the dating and your standards thing. All that other shit will take care of itself. You just gotta have to, feel like you're on the right path after this thing that completely kind of wrecked the trajectory of your life. You just gotta get your shit going in the right direction again. And once you feel like that, start dating, and then just understand it's gonna be an up and down proposition, and I think you're fine, buddy.
I think that's all solid. That's a great pep talk.
Yeah, dude.
It's great to hear those things. So
you got a bad bitch once, and you can get her again.
That's right.
That's what you got to remember.
That was my thinking. So one thing is,
yes,
I never did the thing where I deleted all of her pictures off of Instagram or anything, because it wasn't that kind of like dramatic split up.
Yep.
So I'm thinking I leave those on there, so any potential future partner who's stalking me sees that I pulled a bad bitch once, and that I can do it again. I don't know the psychology there, if that sounds like a solid plan.
Yeah, that's fair. As long as you're not using it too much as a crutch, and you're not looking back at those and being like, they can't be your pep talk. They can't be like your thing. And also, that's fair, but you got to bury her a little bit if you're going to do that. You got to start posting on the grid a little more, pal. That can't, you know what I mean? You and her going to your in-laws for Easter can't be your fourth picture, a year after the divorce. So that's fine. You can keep them there, but in the meantime, you got to start posting your actual life and bearing that a little bit. But yeah, I think that's fine. I think there is something to, and I think that's person to person, whether you want to, delete or not. That's up to everyone. But yeah, but Eldis is right. And fundamentally, if you got a bad bitch once, you can do it again. You just got to believe in yourself. And please call in. Please update us when you do, in fact, get a bad bitch.
All right, I definitely will. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, buddy. Good luck. We love you, pal.
Thanks, dude. Bye.
All right, have a good show.
Thanks, dude. All right, I feel good about our boy.
Yeah, I think
divorce after a bad bitch. That's tough.
That is tough.
He really did not want to get divorced.
You know what it is? I think you got to be like a little flexible with like your standards, but if you just keep a baseline rule of like, I'm not gonna date anyone that I wouldn't want to bring around my friends.
Yes, of course.
That will help you just go to sleep at night with a clear conscience.
Well, look, he gets 8 months of not having to live up to that standard. He's got to get back on the bike, brother.
I know, I hear you, but
yeah,
it's a balance. That is like
it's a balance. He just needs to get it wet, though, dude. This guy might only fuck. We didn't even get into this. That's my problem as an interviewer. This might be the only bitch he's ever fucked in his life, dude.
That's crazy.
He needs a couple other reps.
Yeah.
And they don't have to be dog bitches. But in fact, they probably should. They should be nice girls, but still, he just needs to get a couple. Oh, that's malpractice on my part to not ask him if he's only ever fucked her. I'll do better next time. Sorry, I'm a little rusty. This is only our second podcast back. We had the legend Lewis Black on. That's coming soon, or it might be already out by the time you guys hear this.
Okay, next up. Incel Daddy, are you there?
Incel Daddy.
Yes, sir.
How you doing? Go ahead, brother.
What's up, Incel Daddy?
All right, so let me try. I'm going to read it because it's a little bit, it's like family stuff, so I want to make sure it comes across right.
Okay.
So my mom, she grew up with this cousin. I'll call her Jackie.
Okay.
And her parents died like a year ago. First the mom and then the dad. And she was an only child. Okay. And this really hit her hard because she's like, oh, I'm all alone. She's living in New Jersey now. I'm from Colombia. They're also from Colombia.
Okay.
And so she just felt really alone.
Gotcha.
But turns out that those parents were actually not her parents. And she actually has a bunch of brothers that she doesn't know about.
Whoa, what?
But my mom knows this, and she's known this all her life, and she's never told her.
This is messy as fuck. Oh my God. Right. Okay.
And so like she told me, and so now I'm like, I feel like she has the right to know. She should know, but my mom won't tell her. She's like, no, I don't want to tell her, because it's
annoying.
It's too much. Too much.
Holy fuck, that's wild, dude. Your mom sounds like a dumb bitch.
Well, she came to visit me. I live in New York now. She came to visit me, and this whole time she's visiting, I just kept asking her. I'm like, well, wouldn't you want to know?
You're right.
And she's like, yeah, of course I'd want to know. I'm like,
respect for her being like, yeah, duh, but I don't give a fuck. I'm not in her position. That's pretty fucking awesome on her. I gotta tip my cap to your mom for being like, yeah, duh, dickhead. I just don't want to do it. Holy shit. This is just is that the gist of it? Is there more before I start asking follow-ups?
No, I mean basically my question is like I want her to know, but I was like, do I send like an anonymous letter or I don't know. I also feel like maybe just I don't know.
You can't be sending anonymous letters. Didn't somebody else we had this because I remember making the Jersey Shore comparison in a past episode, but you can't be leaving the Jersey Shore. Sam, we saw Ronnie making out and gave a waitress his number, anonymous letter. So, okay, I'm a little confused here, so let me ask a couple follow-ups here. So, your aunt, who, is presumably, a grown woman, right? She's not like she's like, I don't know how old she is, but lost
50s.
In her 50s, lost both her parents. Now, right. That's complicated by the fact that she is an immigrant. People care about their families a lot more in other countries other than America. So I'll give her some credit. But she still is a grown woman, right? Like, it sucks to lose both your parents. But in your when is it supposed to happen? She's fucking 50.
Well, okay, wait. So the thing is, those were not her parents. She, her mom died when in childbirth.
Oh, wow.
And her dad had like all these other kids. And his sister, who had like all this money, was like, I'll take that kid as my own.
Oh, so she was raised by her aunt, basically an uncle.
Right.
Well, okay. Now, those are her parents, though. Do you know what I mean? Like, yes, It's not her her biological mom, she never met, died in childbirth, and her biological father was raw dogging all across Medellin, right? So she's got two people. One tragically passed away. One's kind of a fucking piece of shit who likes to bust inside of strange women, and then who she doesn't know. And then she has a family that raised her, and you could argue it was almost even more were her mother and father, and it's almost more admirable that they raised her, right? So, like, look, for all intents and purposes, she is mourning the death of her mom and dad, right? Like, these are the people who raised her, and we can get into semantics, but that's her mom and dad, right? Like, she was adopted, essentially. And so, yes, like, Sam Morril has a great joke where it's like someone asks him, was your biological father a good guy? And it's like, well, if he was, I probably wouldn't call him my biological father, right? So yes, she has some family, right? But I don't think ultimately, because there's two things here, right? Is it unethical to keep this level of news from a family member or from anyone for that matter? And there's also the fact that, and that's one question, and then there's a little bit of context here where it's almost the implication is, well, that wasn't her real family. She shouldn't be so sad. She has all this other family that might be able to take the place of that family, right? I don't think that's one way you could read it. Personally, I don't read it that way. I don't think this has anything to really do with the death of her parents. I think this is a completely separate issue from the death of her adopted parents, right? I think this is more of this is a weird thing for our family. Because in my mind, these are her parents. If she finds out they weren't her biological parents, she's not going to be like, what the fuck? She's not going to be like Tony, Paulie Walnuts in The Sopranos, if you've seen that episode. Right. So, spoiler. She loves these people. She's going to mourn these people. This is more of a question of like, well, why the fuck hasn't your family told her? Like, she just doesn't know this at all. She doesn't know that. That's fucking crazy. That's a completely separate issue in my mind, but also a fucking crazy thing.
Well, let me tell you. Okay, so first of all, sorry.
Yeah.
The father, he was not. He had like, it was like a loving family, and when the mom died, again, he had a sister that took that kid from her. He didn't even want to like really give her away, but he was really poor. Gotcha. Again, I know this sounds like a telenovela. I was like, what is this shit you're telling me, Mom? Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, it sounds fake as fuck. But
I know. I promise you it's not. But and so just the fact
that
was
like poor, but not too poor to fucking he wasn't thinking about his bank account when he didn't pull out. My man was rich enough to bust inside in that moment. He wasn't thinking about feasting off fucking coconuts when he was fucking having unprotected sex. Anyway, yeah. So okay, go on. I'm sorry.
No. And so, yeah, I mean, and also like, she was always like lamenting the fact that she never had any siblings, except she does. And so I asked my mom, I'm like, do they know that, like the brothers, do they know that they have a sister? And she's like, yeah.
Whoa,
and I was like, what?
What the fuck?
And they haven't reached out to her. And I was like, a couple of years ago, I went to a baby shower or a communion. And he's like, yeah, one of the brothers was there.
Holy
and I was like, what?
Shit. Dude, that's crazy. So, yeah, that's fucking insane. But this also begs the question, if the dad, so her biological dad, his sister raised his kid, at any point did he try and have any kind of relationship? Or what happened to that guy? He just, no, does she know him as her uncle at least? Or does she not even know this guy exists?
She knew him as just as her uncle.
Wow. But so this is really interesting because these are still her cousins then, even in her mind, right? Her brothers are her cousins and her father is her uncle, but they're not close at all. Like they don't have a relationship even as like uncle and niece or cousins.
No.
So, okay, if that's the case, then let's break it down further. there's a question of what's your position. What should you do in this case? That's question B. That's the first part. And then the second part is, if she were to find out about these people, what is going to happen? What is the aftermath of that? And to answer that question first, these people have been in her life. They are close relatives. And, I assume Colombian culture is kind of like Greek culture, where it's like, dude, your cousins are like your almost siblings in Greek culture. You're set like, I know my second and third, like I just call my second and third cousins my cousins, and I call and we call their parents aunts and uncles instead of, like, America. It's so weird. You call your dad's cousin in America is your second cousin, which is so fucking weird. They're your uncle in Greek culture, right? So it's like, I assume Colombia is similar, where it's like you're close to your cousins, you're close to your second cousins, your extended family means a lot. Am I right about that?
Yeah, for sure.
So if you grow up in one of those cultures where even in the setup of her adopted family, they should be close. They should at least be cousins. And her dad had the opportunity to be in her life as an uncle. And look, maybe he's thinking, I don't want to judge what the guy's thinking. Obviously, that's a very emotionally fraught situation where if you get too attached, now you're feeling guilty. I'm sure there's plenty of reasons why he chose not to. But my point is, these people have had an opportunity to be in this woman's life their whole life, right? They're in their 50s. They're not kids here. And so now you could argue that it's fucked up what they're doing. You could argue it's fucked up what your mom is doing. But now to answer the second part of the question, that's not your responsibility. Like, as hard as that is to stomach, and as hard as fucked up as it is for you to understand that your family has this thing, short of like urging your mom to be like, hey, shouldn't you talk to your fucking cousin or what? I forget the relationship here. Is it her sister or her cousin, or what'd you say it was?
It's her cousin.
Her cousin. Short of urging
it's like you said.
What's that?
I don't know if it's second cousin or
Yeah,
she calls her cousin. I don't know if they're exactly cousins.
But exactly, for effectively her cousin, right? Short of being like, hey, you should tell her this stuff, right? Every time it comes up, and being like, this is weird, we should do something about it, and being kind of like your mom's conscience on the thing. It's really not like, I don't personally, if I was in your shoes, I don't know that it's your, and listen, it would even be a different thing if she had this long-lost family that was desperately searching for her, wanted nothing more than to reconnect with her and shower her with gifts and take care of her financially. If her poor father became a fucking oil tycoon in the meantime and wanted to give her $1 million slice of the family fortune, that's one thing. But what you'd be doing is reconnecting her with people that have been in her life the whole time and never bothered to be like, hey, I'm actually your dad. Like, it's not going to end good, and it's only going to complicate your life potentially. So I just think it's not, I wouldn't get involved here personally, right? Other than, look, if you feel bad for her, you think she got a raw deal, you could hang out with her. You know what I mean? Like, you could have a better relationship with your aunt. You could visit her. You could be like, whatever. But this is it is a crazy situation, but breaking it down with everything you've told us, it just doesn't feel like your place, and even if you were to do something, it just doesn't feel like the juice would be worth the squeeze, in my opinion. That's my read.
So she lives in New Jersey, and when my mom comes to visit me here in New York, we always go out to dinner, and it's one thing to have dinner looking across the table at someone and knowing this crazy secret about them that they don't know. Right. And just just wanted to, like, in the middle of dinner, just reveal this fucking secret.
No, I definitely get that. I get that it might weigh on you, but it's also like, but think about this. The person who's burdened you with this information is the rest of your family and your mom, right? Be mad at them, but like, to kind of get it off your chest, in a weird way, you've been put in a very uncomfortable position, because in some ways, unburdening yourself from feeling guilty at these dinners could potentially really complicate this woman's life. And if your major motivation for kind of sticking yourself in the middle of the situation is to not feel guilty, then it's kind of a selfish motivation, right? The best thing you could do on some level is just be like, eat this up, swallow it up, and like you kind of have to live with it. And that you're actually doing a better thing is one read of the situation. That on some level, you know, kind of like letting the family secrets out so you don't feel as bad when you're having, you know, when you're having steak with your aunt is a little selfish. I don't know. What do you think, Eldis? Weigh in here.
I don't know. It's
like, what if somebody tells you that you got a bunch of long lost Albanians that want to find out that you're actually, you know?
I know. I'm trying to think of this. I'm trying to think of this like, you know, using like my mom and her sister as an example or something.
Right.
It's not quite the same because so you both live in Jersey, you said?
He lives in New York.
Okay.
Yeah. And my mom is in Miami.
It is a really tough call. I don't know. I mean, I part of me is like, I don't know. Yeah, it kind of is like your mom's thing, but it's hard to walk around with that, and it's hard to like just hold that in if you like cross paths with her and like hang out with her and just know it. But yeah, it's like
but I guess who are these fucking guys? What happens? You're not holding her back from some awesome outcome. You're just complicating her life. Is one way. Is kind of my read on it, right? And again, it's not easy, and there's arguments for both sides, and it is a fucked up situation you've been placed in. I really don't know why you know this. Like, that's the fucked up thing. Your mom telling you this is actually one of the most fucked up aspects of this whole thing. She's burdened you for really no reason. Maybe she was like, oh yeah, maybe she doesn't. Maybe your mom's just more of has less empathy than you, and she's like, oh, you want to hear something kind of weird? And she thought you'd think it's kind of a fun fact, and you're like, that's tragic. And she's like, you're a pussy. Maybe there's a little bit of that going on. She's raised too much of an American child for her taste.
I will say too, though, it could be a cultural difference where, like, I'm assuming you grew up here and stuff. Where immigrants, there is. Yeah, go ahead.
Half and half. I was born in Colombia and I moved here when I was 10.
Okay, yeah, 10. Okay. I feel like immigrants
go either way.
It is a little more normal in some cultures to just hold
for sure. Dude, this is nothing. Let's be in the grand scheme of things. There's no like grandfather who's a child molester. There's no murder. There's a guy. There's your cousins are actually your brothers and your uncle is actually your dad. In the grand scheme of things, this is like a misdemeanor immigrant family secret.
Albanians, like, you know, whenever an old person gets sick, like, you just don't tell them they have a cancer diagnosis. you just go talk to the doctor yourself if your senior dad, like grandpa, dad, whatever, is in the hospital, and you're like, I'm just going to talk to the doctor. And he's like, oh, okay, it's all good. We just have to come back for more tests in 3 weeks. Yeah, you just have to come. And you know what, Dad? Start eating steak again. It's gonna, you know what I mean? You want to start having cigars. Yeah, now's the time to start lighting them up again. But everything's fine. He actually says you're doing better. Yeah.
So I asked my mom because I was also curious about this because you were asking like, how do I really don't even remember how she told me or when. Mm-hmm. It's just one of those things that once you find out, it feels like you've always known.
Right.
But so I asked her, I was like, well, how the fuck do you know? Like,
right.
And she said. And this is like something of like a cartoon. She's like, yeah, when I was a little kid, my mom, which is my grandmother, was talking to her friend in the living room, and I snuck downstairs and I listened from the stairwell.
Wow. The fucking sins of the nosy mother have been passed down to you. Damn, dude. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's fucking. So she knew she shouldn't have known, and then she tells her fucking child is so fucked up. Your mom really should have swallowed that, taken that to the grave, if she didn't want to act on it. Yeah, dude. I don't know. That's my read, right? Like, you're not in an easy situation,
and you wouldn't want to know. Like, as I say, you were that. Like, I know that obviously you feel a certain way towards your parents. Those are your parents'
right?
The ones that raised you. But I mean, You'd want to know, like, if Eldis held it back from you,
right?
And then,
dude, if my uncle was my dad, I'd actually be pissed. I don't like that's the other thing. Is like, is this okay? Really think about it. Would this knowledge improve her life?
No, but I mean, you want to know, right? Like,
I can't say that I would want to know for sure. To be honest with you, I honestly don't. I couldn't tell you that I would want to know. Like, if I got some knowledge that in the midst of my grieving my parents, told me that like that would fuck my life up a little more, I honestly don't know if I'd want to know. Like right now, if you were to tell me my parents were, I mean, unfortunately, I know my parents are my biological parent. There's no way around my dad being my dad. I'm starting to fucking look like him. It's pissing me off. But if you were to tell me you have some family secret that would fuck my life up and not benefit me in any way, I don't know if I don't think I'd want to know personally. I don't know. That's just me though.
I guess that's another thing to really think about here is like, yeah, she is grieving with the death of like both her parents right now, right? So what is this gonna do to her if like, you know, if in the midst of her grieving, you're like, oh, by the way, you know, you have these siblings or whatever, and
who didn't really seem to give a fuck about you growing up, by the way.
Yeah, and you open up a can of worms for her that like her parents aren't even there to like be questioned about or something. Like the people who could really shed light a little bit on what was going on like aren't even here anymore to like, you know, say anything about it.
And buddy, listen, we're not saying should she find out. That's the other thing. Yes, she should. Her fucking dad should tell her, or her fucking cousin, but you should, like, you're so low on the list of people whose responsibility this is that if doing the math, it's a hard call, but ultimately I don't think you should. That's just that's honestly, but the problem is this is one of the rare times where there really isn't a right answer. I'm just saying, speaking from myself, I don't know that I don't think I would want to know in her position. She's already fucking 50. She's not a young person. She can't like, and it's like, there's not, I mean, I guess in theory there's time, but she would have to be the one confronting these people and being like, what the fuck? Why didn't you tell me? Or she'd be the one trying to build a relationship. Her dad right now has the opportunity to call her. Her fucking brothers right now have had the opportunity their whole lives, and they haven't, and that I just don't think it's your place, and I don't know that you're even helping her by doing it. I think you're just kind of like trying. I think a major motivation is to unburden yourself of the family secret, which I get, but if that's the major motivation, I don't know. Like, and that's the hard part is like people are different, right? Like the other thing, the other math you want to do is like, if she ever finds out that I knew and didn't tell her, would she be mad at me? And some people would be really fucking mad at you, and some people would probably would be like, understood why you didn't, right? So it's just very difficult, bro. I think ultimately by a hair, I come down to not even a hair, a little more than that. I think it's close, but ultimately I think I wouldn't get involved in this, and if anything, I would try and secondarily, like, if you want to do anything, talk to your mom more, needle your mom about it more. Even if you do have any relationship with these uncles, that's her uncle, like who's I guess your grand uncle or whatever the fuck, or these guys that are her brothers that are technically your uncles. Do you have any relationship with those guys?
No, that's all my mom's side of the family. They're like from the coffee growing region. They're like mountain people, essentially.
Yeah.
Basically what it all boils down to.
Yeah, I mean, and if mountain again, Greece is different than Colombia, but it's like, from what I know about immigrants, it's like if you've got fucking mountain people relatives, if your mountain people are like our mountain people, fuck them. Those are hillbillies. They're literally like your version of hillbillies that like don't really give a fuck and probably don't have this touchy-feely thought about family the way, you know, someone who was, you know, raised most of their life in America does. That's another thing. Like the cultural shit, the cultural change and what family even means, or on some level, really fucking changes. Like they might be like, I don't really fucking know this bitch. Like she's not my, like I never was around her, and even when they saw her, they weren't warm. So it's like, yeah, dude.
Wait. So sorry if you addressed this already, but so her actual brothers or whatever, like, do know
they're her cousin
or her cousins. They know.
So I asked my mom this. I'm like, do the brothers know? And my mom said that I don't know if she knows all of them, but one guy definitely knows, and he went to her daughter's baptism and he was there in the church. And he didn't say anything. I was just like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah. So just because all this shit is fucked up, that's the thing. It's like you don't really have the solution here, dude. It's like here's what this is like. You're watching a fucking like a baseball game, and you're a kid in the stands, and you see that the catcher was like, oh, it's gonna be a fastball. Is it my place to yell to the batter, fastball? Or is it her teammate's place to tell her? Like, you're a bystander. You're unfortunately a bystander to this fucking thing that I think, even though you are family, I think, like, in the grand scheme of things, you're not in the game. This is not your struggle. This is not your thing. And it would be a little different. I would hear an argument if you would improve her life necessarily. But again,
respect the customs of the village elders. Like as fucked up, cruel, and problematic as it seems, there is like centuries of tradition or something of like some old weird mountain culture where this shit is just kind of like normal.
You know how many of your uncles are really brothers with each other? That you know what I mean? Like how many cousins are actually fucking related? How many older sisters or moms that you don't know about, dude? But sorry, we're ultimately ruling, but we had to give it a hard. This was definitely a complicated one that needed our full power. But
no, I'm so glad I waited for the live call because I know there's a lot of nuance there, and I was just like, I don't know.
No,
ultimately, you're right. It is kind of selfish of me to burden myself. Maybe my life is not as interesting as this thing, and I was like kind of just wanting something to happen.
Yeah, I get that too.
In that baseball analogy, I'm like, the ball's never going to hit the bat,
Yeah. This game sucks. Let's get something going. Yeah.
It's not selfish too. It's like normal. Like, you're having a normal reaction to this where you're like, whoa, this is so fucked up. And like,
you're just in a fucked being up. Kept in you're the in a dark, corner here.
Yeah. It's like
your mom shouldn't even know.
Right.
You're not even in the stands. A guy in the stands got information and called you at home about it. And it's like, should I mail the baseball player this news? Like, that's how far removed you are. But good luck, pal. Sorry. Update us if there's any explosive thing that happens with the family. This is very interesting. But hopefully nothing does happen and everybody, has a nice life and you forget about this and then you have your own secret one day to hide from your children.
Yeah.
Your own dark secret that could ruin everything at any moment.
All right,
buddy.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for calling in.
Good luck. Thanks.
Yeah,
good luck, pal.
Peace.
Bye.
Damn, that's a fucking doozy right there.
That's a crazy one.
Yeah.
I could barely even follow the family.
It was cool. It was
there.
interesting. And it did really, I felt I was using all my brain to get that going. Let's see what else we got, LD.
The Junkyard Hoochie Daddy, are you there?
Hello, Junkyard Hoochie Daddy.
What's up, brother?
Good. Can y'all hear me good?
Yep, you're coming through.
Cool. I guess I'll just start.
Hit us with it.
About a year ago, I went to go pick up my girlfriend and her friends at this 7-Eleven that's kind of known for like catcalling and like weird dudes and shit. And
it's
basically, I misinterpreted the situation. Huh?
It's got a fucking reputation as a place where minor sexual crimes are taking place. Minor sexual harassment is taking place.
Yeah, there's a lot of skeevy dudes basically there. Like,
damn. They needed a fucking. They needed a fucking a Slurpee that bad, huh?
It's a lot of bums and shit, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I saw these dudes were like fucking with my girl and her friends, and I misinterpreted the situation, and I didn't beat his ass, but like I kind of like got him on the ground. I was like, "Yo, stop being weird," and that's not what was happening.
Yeah, I gotcha.
He was just trying to get his like cricket phone activated or some shit, and since then, like her friends haven't fucked with me, which is understandable. Like I did something really stupid and fucked up.
Yeah.
But I never got the chance to like explain myself or apologize.
Right.
And like she broke up with me at one point rather than deal with it. And it's but then she's like, well, like I want to be with you and I want to make things work. And I'm like, I don't know if that's gonna work. And as soon as I said that, like this was like a month ago, she's like, oh, well, like, we can get dinner with my friend or whatever the fuck if you want to. And I was like, so this has been possible the whole time. I feel like you just didn't want to deal with this, you know?
Interesting, yeah. So basically, just as a recap, you're going to pick her up. There's a place where fucking, you know, it's wild. People are catcalling. Maybe a couple asses are getting grabbed. Maybe you know, this kind of shit. And you just overreacted. You thought this guy was you thought this guy was giving them a hard time, and he was just being homeless, basically, being weird and homeless.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you fucking you braced him physically. Which, listen, yes, it is fucked up, and yes, you did overreact. But I also do see where you're coming from, right? Like, what if that wasn't, like, if that guy, and who's to say, right? Who knows if that situation plays out a little longer, if he doesn't pull his dick out or something, right, like that, right? Like, maybe you shot the gun, or you jumped the gun, but yes, you were coming from a protective place, and like, sure, is there maybe issues that could be a jumping off point to talk about, like, you know, I don't know, maybe you do have anger issues, whatever, who knows? That's one thing if you use that as an opportunity to explore other problems. But if it's just one incident that, look, I think you do have you have a way to explain yourself. You're like, look, I was being overprotective. I thought you guys were in trouble. I misread things. My bad. I'll try and have better situational awareness in the future. But I also want you to know that if you ever are in danger, I would... like, this is kind of how I would react because I care about you and I don't want, you know, whatever. So I think you had, and so that happened, but you never got a chance to explain that, probably because, yeah, I mean, you're right. Once your girl's friends have made up their mind on you, once the group chat has turned on you, you're fighting a tough war, brother. So that's basically what happened. They never heard you out. And now what's the situation? You guys broke up for a little bit, and now you're trying to get back together, and you have a dinner with her friends to explain yourself? What's going on?
No, like, I mean, honestly, what's going on now is, like, all, like, fallout from this. Like, I still can't go around none of her friends. And, like, I mean, like, so much has happened since then in the relationship. Like, I'm really, like, kind of more focused on, like, this part of it where it's, like, I feel like I still have never been heard about it. Because, like, also, another part of it is, like, her thing is, like, I can take care of myself. I don't need you to defend me. Right, and I understand that, and I respect that. But my thing is, it's, like, dudes like that, if you don't see women as people, like like if a woman pepper sprayed a dude who's being weird, like, he's not gonna give a fuck. He's gonna be like, oh man, what a dumb bitch, right? But like, I feel like if another dude beats his ass because another dude sees him being weird, I mean, like, that sends a message where it's like, you know, it's up to men to check ourselves. You know what I mean?
Sure. And look, that's also right, but pepper spray, you're downplaying pepper spraying a little bit. He's still getting fucked up. His eyes are all fucked up. He needs to pour a couple gallons of milk. There is something to that, right? I think there's a little bit of meeting in the middle here, right? Where it's like, yes, you are there. I think I know how you're thinking, but you probably could take it down a couple notches, right? Like, you could probably, you know, back off a little bit, and there's probably shit you can work on. But you're not even given the opportunity to kind of have that conversation, is what it sounds like, right?
Yeah, because I know I do that. I'm quick to react to stuff. I know that. Okay. Like, I didn't get a chance to explain it. You know what I mean?
Yes. So that's what I'm saying here is, like, look, this situation, I see where you're coming from. But it could be and I think the way you ultimately win these friends over, but also more importantly your girlfriend over, is probably working on that underlying stuff, right? Like, I think it sounds like you probably have some kind of anger issue, or even if it's aimed at the right place, right, in the right direction. Because I know that I grew up with anger problems. Me and my brothers all grew up with anger problems. We're in therapy for that stuff. And even if you are in the right, your conduct and how quickly you snap and the way you react, you overreact, it can completely nullify what is, you know, noble goals. That can completely nullify that if you're kind of overdoing it. So I think what you really need to work on, and the way you would kind of address this underlying thing, because look, like you just said, so much has happened in the relationship, right? You're way past it. It would almost be weird if you, like, asked your girlfriend to have dinner with her friends and you had a reverse intervention where you tried to explain to everyone why you don't have a problem, right? Like, you really can't call a reverse intervention. All you can do is see think about what their problem is, or what that incident, what the underlying stuff about that incident says about you, what the stuff you can work on is, and work on that stuff, right? And show that you are making an effort. If that means going to therapy, or if that means going to anger stuff, or if that means emotional, exercises, whatever the fuck it is in your situation. I can tell you, for me, therapy helped a lot in terms of getting my temper under control, in terms of, and just in general, it helped with my, I always say, go into therapy with something specific to work on. Don't just go in to kind of feel better or talk to someone. Go in and say, like, for me, it was like, at first it was guilt issues with my immigrant background. I never felt like I could do what I wanted. I felt like I had to owe it to my family. Then it was like, standing up for myself in situations which you wouldn't think about it, but goes hand in hand with anger. Because if you are too much of a people pleaser and you let people step all over you enough, half the people either get super depressed and turn it inward, and I did a little bit of that. But sometimes a lot of people turn it the other way and just go, once they've had enough, get really unreasonable. Instead of standing up for yourself in a small, measured way, you wait till it builds up and you explode, and that's not healthy. And I did that. My brothers went to therapy for that, and it's really helped us in a lot of ways. And so that's what I think you got to do here, pal, because it does. I've been where you are. I've been in the right, but overreacted, and I've looked like a fucking complete dickhead, right? And so I think that's all you got to do. And I think if you show that kind of growth to your girlfriend over time, and by the way, just for yourself, right? Like, this is something you want to get under control for yourself. This relationship works, this relationship doesn't work. You want to have control over your emotions. There's nothing worse than, like, I'm sure you have that feeling of, like, it's almost like you're like, whoa, what the fuck did I just do? Like, I've flipped out and I've broken shit and I've, like, gotten to fights, and it's like that when you're watching a movie after a bomb goes off and you're, like, blinking hard as fuck, and you're like, it's like that ringing in your ears, like a fuck, like you just, got, like, what they make it seem like an IED in Iraq is like. That's what it feels like when I've just fucking lost my shit, and I'm like, damn, I said some fucked up things to that person who I was a little annoyed at, but now everyone thinks I'm the asshole, right? So you want to get that under control for yourself, and I think ultimately that's the key to, once you've shown real change, that will seep out. And look, once you've done enough work, you might even get the chance retroactively to be like, hey, like, you could be like, I've really worked on these things. I was out of control. You could even bring up the thing at the 7-Eleven and be like, that was a wake-up call. And you might be talking about this with these people. If you're if this relationship works out, you might be talking about this with these people in like 6 months, 8 months, a year from now, when you've shown real progress. But that's kind of, I'm making a lot of assumptions, but I feel like I'm talking to somebody who's gone through similar stuff. It feels like that kind of a hair trigger, anger problem, and a thing that can set you off. That sounds like something you deal with, right?
Well, I mean, the thing, it's really only for stuff like that, because, like, I've had a lot of, like a lot of my friends have been assaulted. Like, my sister has had her own issues with, like, the people I've always had to deal with these motherfuckers, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. So, like, that's, of course, like, really, like, just gets me, you know what I mean? Like,
no, but dude, yes. And here's the thing. I fully understand where it comes from, but at the same time, that only kind of highlights my point where we're talking about, that's even more emotionally volatile, right? Because if this is based in really fucked up things that have happened to people you really care about, that is kind of a recipe for, like, you also reacting in ways that you don't have control over. It's not about not acting in those situations. It's about, like, having control over your emotions, at all times. I think, is what I would say. But I get that, dude. It's fucking, I totally understand that. And look, maybe you're not going through the same things I'm describing here, right? Maybe you don't have these chronic anger problems. And maybe if that's the case, maybe you did just kind of, like, overreact in one instance out of being overprotective. And and maybe you just have just philosophically don't align with, you know, the person you're with or her friends, and it's just like, well, I think this is appropriate. Like, I don't think it's appropriate, but I also don't think I deserve to be treated like I fucking stabbed the guy, right? Like, and you might just have a disagreement.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's kind of the issue too. Is like I feel like we have very different like backgrounds and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, this is like probably like one of like the classiest group of like ladies I've been around. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, me, I'm like, I worked at the junket at the time. I was like just blasting cigs and drinking beer, having a good time. You know what I mean? So I was like very different. So like it put off, and also like I'm half black, but I passed for white, and the dude was black, so it kind of just looked like a hate crime from the outside, like without any.
You're like, my mom's light skinned. My mom's light skinned. Well, I'm not. Not a hate crime.
Everything about it looks so bad. You know what I
mean? Yeah, dude. I get that. And yes, that's another big thing because yes, dude. Believe me, class issues and all that stuff is so charged, and people really look down on like, you know, if they come from backgrounds where everyone is so not emotional, they're frigid. Losing your temper temporarily, they treat as if you just fucking, you know, killed the family dog or something. So there might be some issues there too. I guess my advice would just be like, look, dude, it doesn't hurt to get a little therapy, especially if you've dealt with traumatic things, especially if people in your family have dealt with traumatic things. Like, it's like, it doesn't hurt to be like, to examine this stuff, right? To be like, to at least go in there and say like, hey, how is this affecting me, right? Because yes, it's also possible that because a lot of your anger is rooted in stuff that was really fucking shitty and that was like, that you wish you could have stopped, right? Like, it's possible that just kind of, that is even harder to control than like more chronic shit, right? Like my shit comes from my family and just like, you know, my dad was kind of abusive. He just had a big temper and he would break shit and he would he didn't hit us as much, but he did threaten, and we just kind of all picked that up, and that's stuff that's hard to get rid of, right? And like if you have even just a little bit of that, plus people in your life going through stuff where the anger, you feel like you could have used your anger in a positive way, it kind of almost gives you an excuse to feel out of control and overly emotional. It's just complicated, right? It's the kind of thing that we obviously, me and Eldis, can't fucking tell you, right? Like, we can't tell you the solution there. I just think it's worth, you know, examining that shit and seeing if you do have some kind of like, because look, some real situation happens. You don't want to be completely out of control, right? You don't want to overreact. You want to react correctly. If, you know, God forbid, knock on wood, you're ever put in a bad situation, you don't want to be fucking, you know, going berserker mode. You want to kind of have a handle on everything, right? So I think that's really what it is here. It's like, look, keep working on this relationship, take it to its logical conclusion. Hopefully it works out. Hopefully everything's good. But there's the complicating factors of, maybe there's just cultural differences here. And I was a little out of line, but these girls are fucking uptight cunts, right? Like, that's a real possibility. I'm not telling you it's not. But there's also like, all you can do is control your own shit. And I think you owe it not just to this girlfriend, but to yourself to really think like, do I have some kind of emotional control issues, and do I let situations where someone's potentially in danger, do I count, is that my little cheat day? Is that my anger cheat day? You know what I mean? Where it's like when I'm fat as shit and I'm like, well, I'm traveling, so it's hard to eat well. Maybe I'll have some chocolate covered pretzels. Do you like struggle to control your anger, and then you see a fucking homeless guy talking to your girlfriend, you're like, whoa, time to tackle this cocksucker. You know what I mean? This is my anger cheat day. You know what I mean? Like, all I'm saying is it's worth at least examining that for yourself long term, not even for this relationship.
Yeah.
So, yeah, dude. Good.
Yeah, man.
But because I know I've kind of been in I've been in very similar situations to yours. I mean, I've never... my last girlfriend, her friends hated me the whole time. And ultimately At least in my, and look, I fucked up way worse than you did, but I was never getting forgiven for the shit that I did. So there's, that can ultimately fucking fuck some shit up. But I think the more important thing is your own stuff. And I think as long as you're working on it, it's important for you. And then anyone you're with should be able to respect that too.
Yeah. I guess the last thing I'll say is about her. When you came to Richmond, I saw you live. And
oh, hell yeah.
She wanted to go out with her friends that night. And I couldn't get a picture with you because she wanted to leave.
So well, like fucking leave her. Sounds like a dumb bitch to me. Right. Damn. Sorry to hear it, bro. Next time I'm in Richmond, we'll get a pic.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Stavvy.
All right, brother. Good luck with everything. Thanks for calling in. All right. That's good. Sound like a cute kid.
Yeah. Next up, we got the Dank Tower.
The Dank Tower.
The Dank Tower. Thank you for waiting.
Up?
How's it going?
What's up, Dank Tower?
It's going good.
Thanks for calling in.
See you boys in Detroit.
Ooh, that's going to be awesome. Yeah. We're pumped about Detroit. That's one of the places that I got sick twice. I got COVID, I think, and then I also had a weird stomach virus, like a really fucked up stomach thing where I had to cancel, and I felt bad, so I can't wait to go back.
Awesome.
What's plaguing you, baby? Tell us.
Yeah, so my question is, basically until about 5 years ago, I was a good little Christian boy. Grew up in a real strict environment, real conservative, Now I'm happily married, have 2 kids. I'm like 30 years old. And like, I don't want to blow up my life or anything like that, obviously. But yes, I do kind of wish I had, done more with my youth. Like I never got into psychedelics, never traveled alone. Yeah. And I was a virgin till marriage. So that was a mistake.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. But you're a good little Christian boy. You said you're happily married, right?
Yeah. Like I wouldn't want to change anything about my life. I just do wish I could regain some of my youth, retake.
Peter, I got news for you, my friend. That's not because you were religious and you got married young. Everyone wants to recapture their youth. No matter how much pussy you got, no matter how much drugs you did, everyone is nostalgic about. I mean, me and Eldis are nostalgic about our youth for playing WWE, WWF. Fucking what was it? What was the game?
WrestleMania and No Mercy.
Yeah, No Mercy. Playing No Mercy and just like eating Papa John's pizza. We missed that.
I'm nostalgic for my youth, and I hated my youth as I lived
exactly. I hated it as it was going on, and I wish I could have it back every moment.
Yeah.
So, like, what you're going through is a completely universal experience, even if it feels supercharged to you because you can make the intellectual case like, oh, I missed out, And look, I'm not saying you didn't miss out on certain things, right? Growing up religious, sounds complete dog shit. Like complete dog shit. Sounds like it totally fucking sucks. You're not allowed to watch cool movies. You're not allowed to touch a titty. You think if you jack off, you're going to die. I mean, it just sounds horrible. So I'm not saying you didn't miss out on stuff, but you are in a great situation right now, right? You're happily married. And I think the answer here is like, what can you do selectively to kind of, obviously you're not going to, don't go on a bender, cheat on your wife and gamble. But like, hey, who's to say on a vacation you can't do a little mushrooms with your wife? You know what I mean? Who's to say you can't like, go on a boys trip for a weekend where you're like, I never got to, and yeah, maybe maybe you and your boys get an Airbnb, fucking get fucked up, like get a little bit of that, like just little safe tastes of the stuff. Like boil it down and say, what do I really want to do? What am I really missing? What do I really think that I missed out on? And find ways to kind of fit that into your current life. Because what you have, the thing that's better than even people, as someone who had, is nostalgic for my high school youth was kind of dog shit. But, I was broke in my 20s, but I got internet famous halfway through. I got to get a lot of pussy. I get to do a lot of drugs. Your 30s are better than my 30s. Do you know what I mean? Like you right now have a nice setup. You have a nice family. You have somebody you really love that you're with. And so a lot of the people that had the best youths have the worst have the worst like think about like child stars, dude. Think about like, people that were in bands in their 20s that like can't have a good relationship because their brains are all fucked up and rewired from all the drugs and pussy and shit like that. So you have the nice infrastructure, and now you can kind of dole in a little bit of like, like I said, maybe you can go on a nice hike and do a little acid. You know what I mean? Whether that's with your wife or with your fellas or whoever the fuck. Maybe, and I know you have kids, maybe you have to wait for some of this stuff, but maybe you can sneak in some of it here and there. It's like, I would say make a list of the stuff you really think you missed out on, whether that's like even like a concert or like a fucking, music festival, or like, going out, and if you're a sports fan, going out and seeing like your favorite team at their arena or whatever the fuck it is. Make a little list and be like, all right, once a year or twice a year, I get to do a couple of these little treats, and that kind of, can carry you through, I think. But you have a lot of great stuff going for you right now, and, I think that's really the answer. You have the infrastructure, and you can sprinkle in the stuff you think you lost, because you're not a fucking... Here's the other thing. You're not old, bro. How old are you?
Sure. 30.
Yeah, dude. You're fucking 30, dude. You have you literally have 30, at least 30 years, like, of being able to fucking travel unencumbered. Then maybe even longer if you take care. Your 60s could even be a good decade for you if you take care of yourself. So, I don't know. How does that sound? Does that sound reasonable?
I think that's great. Yeah. The sowing my wild oats part, it's probably the harder one to,
of course,
be able to get back. But
of course, but that's
no reason I can't take some boys trips and drop some acid in the woods.
Take some boys trips, drop some acid. You know what I mean? Get a wig for your wife. You know what I mean? Make her dress up in a schoolgirl. You can't fuck other girls, but you can make your wife dress up like other girls. You know what I mean? Every once in a while, like get a little free. I know your ass wasn't a freak because you were, all Christian and shit, but you get freaky with your wife. So yeah, make that list, bro, and just start knocking stuff off.
All right.
Yeah. Cause I'm, obviously I've been busy as fuck, but like, I'm going to, in the next coming years, my goal is to be in a serious relationship. Most of my friends are in serious relationships. Like, everyone kind of enters this phase of life where you just kind of, you have fun. Everything changes and you get to have fun within the parameters of your new life. So I love it, dude. I can't wait to, what do you think the first little, what do you want to do? You got an example for us?
Well, I just went to a couple concerts recently. That was pretty cool.
See? Little shit like that's fun.
Like a boys trip, I think, would be real great.
Yeah, dude. Get a boys trip. Go to a fucking, nice, rented a great place. Like after my special, me and the whole team, we rented a great house. We did mushrooms. We swam in. There was a pool. There was a screening room. We watched Heat. We watched Michael Mann's Heat. It was the fucking perfect, one of the best days of my life. So
yeah, nice.
Do some shit like that, babe.
Dank, can I ask you, like, is there anything in particular bringing this on, or like, are you feeling like restless? Do you feel like you don't have time to yourself?
Eldis is asking for himself now. Eldis is like, so let's say somebody was in a serious relationship, and when did this start happening? When did you start worrying about these things?
Well, no, I'm curious. Like, I'm curious. I'm just wondering, like, is it anything like that, or do you have like hobbies that you already do, or I don't know what, or
I mean, honestly, between fatherhood, I've got a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. Yeah. So between and like COVID over the last few years, not a lot of hobbies left, but
of course.
Try to find some time for myself here and there. I like to do a little bit of creative writing, that kind of stuff.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and dude, listen, with kids that young, it's probably a once a year thing, right? Realistically. Right. But that's fine. And you're like, having kids is such a rewarding thing in and of itself. And that once they start getting a little older, you'll get to be able to kind of do that. You'll be able to kind of fold more and more of that stuff in. So we love it, dude.
And don't worry about regrets of not getting pussy or something in the past before
it's never enough.
Even the best pussy, the most amazing pussy of your life that you're like, whoa, how did I manage this?
Yeah,
will make you feel good for like 20 minutes tops.
Yeah,
and then it's
every once in a while you'll be sitting, you'll be like, wait, I just remembered I fucked that girl, and then you'll be happy for like 5 minutes after. But no matter what, it's never enough. Whether you fuck no other women or 1,000, no one is like, I feel it's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, we love it, buddy. Good for you. Let us know when you do a psychedelic. Call it.
Yeah.
Leave us a voicemail with a an update.
Hell yeah. Thanks, buddies.
Thanks, dude.
See you, Dank.
All right. Take care.
Next up,
Yeah.
we got Dylan here.
Big Dilly.
Dylan, you're up, baby. You there? Are you on mute? Can't hear you. Dylan? Okay, Dylan, we'll put you... Dylan? Okay. This time it's not my fault.
Hey. I didn't say it was this time.
Okay, Dylan, you hang tight and we'll go to someone else before you. Reese? 26? Are you there? Think you're on mute right now?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
What's up, dog?
What's up, boys? How's it going?
How's it going? Thanks for calling in, Reese.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for having me.
What's ailing you, my
doing?
son?
I got a predicament, man. I need some master advice.
Okay, we're here for you.
So I'm 21. I just graduated college a few months ago in May, and I started working for this logistics company. It's all going great so far, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But back in school, I had this like friends with benefits person. We were hooking up and stuff, but we made it clear that we were just that,
Okay.
and we never got feelings or anything like that. Hold up.
Mm-hmm.
Pressure. No. And so whatever, time goes on, we both graduate. Turns out we both end up meeting each other overseas, and
Wow.
we had 2 pretty romantic nights.
Oh, dude, that's tough. Yeah.
In Paris.
Oh, it wasn't
cool
planned.
shit.
You just bumped into this bitch in
dude,
Paris.
Straight up, just bumped into.
Oh, dude, that's tough not to read that. Even a man like me would read that as a sign.
Yeah, exactly. So keep going, keep fast forwarding. Turns out she's also from Massachusetts. So
I love that never came up while you fucked her for a year and a half. You're like, and by the way, she's also from the same state as me. Yeah, you really didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, pretty much. You pretty much get my gist here. So yeah, anyway. So we both graduate, whatever. We're gonna stay in touch. After this trip, we both end up in Massachusetts. So we start hanging out. We start doing whatever.
Yeah.
And obviously, we're gonna catch feelings for each other.
Mm-hmm.
So we both catch some feelings. We both want to date and whatnot, but he just moved to a whole different state. Like 4 states away, new job, whatever. So now we're pretty much separated. I don't think I'm ever gonna see her again. I don't plan on it. So I don't know what to do, man. Should I just say fuck it and move on and try and get some new bitches, or try and make this long distance thing work, or what?
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Okay, yeah. I mean, look, this is my knee-jerk reaction is to be like, well, you're 21. She's 4 states away. Like, it was never. You never really showed any initiative. This all just kind of fell in your lap. My knee-jerk reaction is to be like, it probably doesn't make sense, right? Like just from what I'm hearing, from where you both are in your life, convenience keeps bringing you together. And look, we only have your side of the story. She might have more feelings for you. I don't know. Who's to say?
Yeah.
But if we're just looking at this if we take emotion completely out of it and we just look at this statistically, 21-year-old friends with benefits who, hooked up for a year after school, even though they said they wouldn't, and one moves away, should they turn this into a long-distance relationship? The answer is no,
or
right?
even not even long distance. Maybe I'm just trying to. This sounds messed up, but I'm just trying to keep her in the bag. Work out later for me, and me and her end up, meeting up again.
Right. And listen, that's whatever. As long as you're clear about your intentions, I don't think that's necessarily a problem. Certain people just have those relationships, where it's like, oh, if I'm in your city, Why don't we hang out? And we both know it's nothing more than that. So look, that's fine. That's one thing. But the question to whether you should keep this going in like a relationship way is really up to you. It's like, are you just a person who does kind of have feelings and you're not in touch with them? Do you actually care about this person? Again, statistically, this probably doesn't work out, but most relationships statistically don't work out, so that's not a reason not to pursue it necessarily. It really is just emotion. If you feel like the kind of thing you want to keep, this is the kind of thing you want to keep up with it. But I would say it's probably better for both of you not to, right? And to kind of live and let live. And look, if you're on vacation, you're in fucking, you're in Thailand in 3 years and she's in the fucking bungalow next to yours, then maybe you have to marry this woman. But I think you're in a place in your life where, you don't want to back into a relationship at this point, at this time in your life. I think you want to, you're both fresh out of college. You're both becoming adults. You don't want like someone who turns into almost like an emotional and sexual crutch. Just go do your own thing. Both of you should kind of go do your own thing. And yeah, if something crazy brings you guys together, maybe pursue it then. But it's also like she's 4 states away. You like your job, right? You got a good first job out of school. You like it. You don't want to move. You don't want to be on fucking FaceTime with somebody. Neither one of you, unless you do have feelings and you're doing the classic thing that we all do in our early 20s and pretend we don't care. You know what I mean? But that's something only you can tell me, right? And that's something only you can tell yourself. But in the case where you're like, hey, I like her enough, I think you owe it to both of you to just be like, I'll leave this alone, right? Because there's also, we don't have her side of the story. It's also possible she cares a little bit more than you do, and it would be kind of a dick move to just kind of weirdly keep stringing her along. Now, again, if you feel like you want to have a conversation like, hey, we live 4 states away. I always have a good time when we hang out. If you're ever in Mass, hit me up. And if I'm ever in fucking, wherever the fuck she is, I'll hit you up. That's fine. You can do that. But also prepare for her to be like, I don't know that really works for me. Or also she's 21 too, right? So maybe she's not even in touch with her own feelings. So if you want to be a good guy and you ever feel like she's catching feelings and you don't reciprocate them, it would be better just to stay away, right? Like that's kind of the advice I can give you. And you kind of have to read that for yourself and you kind of have to figure that out on your own. But I would say the general advice is probably like, hey man, let this go. Try, get at it. Friends with benefits situations in general are kind of these weird quasi things where you kind of have intimacy, but you don't really, and you kind of care about this person, but you don't really, and they're kind of a fucked up thing to begin with. So I think the more you can leave that in college, the better for yourself, and just start dating and start, because it kind of keeps you in a mind frame that you were in college, especially if this is a girl from college. You want to start your next chapter in all regards, and I'm not even saying you have to be in a relationship, but maybe you just want to casually date in the new town you're in. Maybe you do want to find somebody that you don't feel like, that you feel a little more jazzed about than like, oh cool, I'll fuck her if we're in the same city. You know what I mean? Like, so dude, but this is a classic 21-year-old dilemma, and I think it's classic. And I think the safest thing is to just be like, unless you feel really strongly about her, just cut it out completely and, move along. But it's hard.
The only thing that's holding me back from just, cutting her off and moving along is the fact that, like, I don't know, it seems like we actually developed something that is, healthy.
Right.
And I feel like that's going to be the part that's going to be tough to get over.
And listen, there we go. That's you might be doing again the classic 21-year-old guy thing of being like, yeah, you're right. The only thing is I actually love her, but other than that, it's like not even a big deal, dude. I love being single, like. So but so look, dude, you have to decide whether you want to give that a real shot. And here's the other thing, you kind of have, I guess, 3 options really. No. The main thing you could do is be like, let's give this. But the problem is, dude, she's not in the same fucking town as you anymore, right?
Like, I won't even be able to see her. I'd have to be FaceTiming and whatnot. Through that.
That's kind of tough. But I also think, yeah, that's difficult.
I don't want to like hold her back from having fun and doing whatever too.
Yeah, no, you're in a difficult position. I think here's what you have to do, which is the scariest thing in the world, is especially for someone your age and something I didn't you could argue I still haven't gotten under control. Is just like make a decision one way or the other and stick to it, right? Like I think if you feel like you develop something kind of organically and naturally good, the same way it's like, well, you're 21, you should be, you're also 21, and it's like that means giving a relationship a chance, right? Like it's just a time for you to like grow and learn right now. And if you're feeling strongly about this, then it's worth it, right? It's worth giving it a chance. It's worth going over there and maybe visiting her. And if you have that's the hard thing about these things. The feelings and the emotional stuff is kind of nebulous and you don't really know. And it's also kind of hard to put yourself out there. But if you feel this way and you want to give it a shot, then you should have this conversation with her and be like, this is how I feel. Do you feel similar? And look, she might say no, right? That's another scary thing. Is like you put yourself out there and you just get, but here's the good news is if that's what happens, the decision becomes very easy and you can say that you at least gave it a shot, right? So it's really something you have to kind of search within yourself. This unfortunately is something I can't tell you, right?
Yeah.
But I will say from where I'm sitting, I do regret not being more especially girls I dated in my 20s, I regret not being more upfront with my feelings and not giving them a shot, to be honest with you. Just as somebody who's got, almost 15 years on you, there were girls I dated in my 20s that I wish I had been more emotionally honest with, that I wish I had, because I was scared of commitment. I don't know if you have similar things going on.
You think you would have married any of them?
What's that?
You think you would have married any of them?
See, dude, I don't know if I would have married any of them, but I would have found out what I wanted in a relationship faster. Yeah. I'll put it that way, right? Because that's the other thing. You don't necessarily have to marry them, right? And that's the other thing that I had to get over was like, I used to think if you're in a relationship, that means you do want to marry someone. But that's not it at all, right? It just means I like this girl more than I like X random girl. I feel like she is somebody that I at least want to, she's somebody that I want to see what the next step looks like. It doesn't have to be marriage, right? You guys might date for a year and be like, you know what? I really like this person, but it's not right for me, long term, or we're incompatible in certain one of these ways. I just feel like in any kind of relationship, there's certain points you hit where you're like, all right, we're compatible as friends with benefits, but we're not compatible in terms of boyfriend and girlfriend, or we're incompatible as boyfriend and girlfriend, but only if we see each other 2 times a week. We're not compatible if we see each other 5 times a week, or we can't move in. People hit that limit different places. Some people are good just dating, but not moving in together. Some people are good moving in together, but not getting married, right? So it's like, you'll figure it out. But I also think it's in your early 20s, you want to find yourself, but you also, I think, want to learn how to be in a good relationship. And it sounds like you might have backed into catching feelings for this girl, and you're kind of, you don't want to admit it, right? And again, we've all been there. It's gay to love women. I remember what it's like, but it's cool. What's straight is pounding 30 racks with your boys, is winning a case race. That's what being fucking cool is. So I know you got to erase that thinking from yourself. And, dude, it sounds like to me, just talking to you for the last 10, 15 minutes, whatever, it sounds to me like at the very minimum, this deserves a real conversation with her about what the relationship has been like, right? Yeah. Like,
or even like the future.
Yeah, or even like, how do you but if you do have that, you can't be wishy-washy. You have to be like, this is how I feel about you. How do you feel? And go from there. Because it sounds like to me you want to give it at least a little bit of a shot. And again, dating someone is not marrying them, right? You can fucking break up in a couple months if it doesn't work out. It's just, well, let me give it a shot here let me give it a shot here. And if it's not working out, fine, we'll deal with that when we cross it. But yeah, dude, It sounds like you should have that conversation, and that's good for you, right? It's going to be a hard conversation, but hard conversations about your feelings are good for you. Every hard conversation I've ever had where I've been dreading it, and I'm like, fuck, I don't want to do this. I'd give anything not to do it. After I have it, it feels like you like leveled up in a video game. I feel so much better. I feel accomplished. I've had them with family members that I didn't want to have. I've had them with women that I was dating that I just didn't want to have. I've had them professionally. It has every hard conversation always is good for you. So at the very least, you're kind of just getting some XP points as a man by having this conversation. But yeah,
so
buddy.
You think keeping her in the bag is probably not the best idea?
No. That one's out. That one's out for sure. You got to go one way or the other. You don't want it's this. Well, it's a which path. It's like do you want to be a Jedi or a Sith? It's like keeping her in the bag is going full Sith mode and being like, yeah, maybe I'll fuck her 6 more times throughout the next 2 years. Like no, you want to go one way or the other for sure. That I can tell you for sure. Eldis, you look like you want to say something over there.
I don't know. I think keeping in the bag is definitely an option.
No, it's not.
Here's okay.
Oh my god.
Stav is right. You need to look deep within yourself and think, what do you want out of this relationship with this girl? Do you want to date her? Realistically, do you want to be dating someone who lives in fucking North Carolina? You're in Massachusetts. So figure that out, and then yeah, if you like hard no or hard yes, but
no, don't listen to Eldis. Eldis is in a serious relationship. This is the thing. You're getting advice from one man who hasn't had a real relationship in 4 years, and another man who's been wifed up for 6 years. So that's a little bit of our different perspectives. But
I'm just saying, dude. You're what, 21? You said,
No, dude. That's fucking dumb, Eldis. Because he clearly cares about her. Let's be honest. We've talked to him for a while.
I might have developed a little feeling.
He does. He's just he doesn't want to admit it. I'm not pressing him because I know how he feels and I know he'd start blushing and I could hear it over the phone, right? He does care about her, and if he were to keep her in the bag, he would actually only be hurting himself. Yeah. Like in the world where he doesn't give a fuck about this girl, or he's like, she's cool, whatever, and he could ethically say, hey, here's where I'm at. I don't want anything serious, but if I'm ever in your town or you're ever in mine, hit me up. But he cares about her. So he either needs to give it a shot or get over it and, either get rejected by her and move on, or just decide it's not, date her for a little bit, decide it's not right. So it's like, that's why keeping her in the bag is not the move, in my opinion. It's bad for him. It's not about her. Even.
For sure.
Yeah. So there you go, buddy. I'm glad we got to the bottom of this. We're rooting for you, pal. Feel free to call in and give us some updates as things develop. Good luck, pal. We'll talk to you soon, all right?
Sounds good. Thank you, boys.
Yep.
Bye, buddy.
How many calls we got left, Bucko?
We have 4 callers left.
Okay. How long have we been going?
We're at 142 right now.
All right, let's try and speed round these people. I don't want to leave them hanging, but we also have to, I forgot we have something due tomorrow that I have to do in a couple. I have to send in a few hours.
Okay. Dylan, are you there?
Big Dilly.
Dylan?
Yes.
What's up, babe? How's it going?
Yes, I'm here. Hell yeah, baby.
What's going on, Dilly the kid?
Doing great. Doing great. How's it going with you fellas?
We're okay, buddy. We're sweating our little nuts off. We still haven't figured out the air conditioning in the studio, but we're here to solve your problems, baby. Tell us what's going on.
All right, so I got this buddy. I mean, I guess you could call him a buddy. I haven't been a very good buddy to him.
Oh shit, you're the asshole. Okay.
So yeah, in like 2018, this guy got married, and we were just work friends.
Okay.
As close as you can get by being work friends. I saw him most days, and we would chit chat and say hey. And then he got engaged, and he asked me to be a part of his what would you call that? The groomsman. He asked me to be a groomsman.
Mm-hmm.
And then, which was weird. I was surprised that he wanted me to be his groomsman. We weren't that close.
Okay.
He would never have been my groomsman.
Right. Yes. Always a tough situation when that happens.
Yeah. And so then we get closer to the wedding day, And then his best man is like nervous to have a speech.
Oh no.
And so then he asks me to be the best man because I can do public speaking doesn't freak me out.
Okay.
So he asked me to be his best man, and
so I'm sorry, he didn't ask you to give a speech. He asked you to be his best man. That's crazy. It's one thing to be like, hey, my best man is autistic. He doesn't want to do, but he's my best friend. He doesn't want to speak. Do you mind? I've seen you run those PowerPoints at work. I know you got it in you. Why can you just say a little something? Doesn't have to be crazy. I'd really appreciate it. But for him to be like, hey, he's out as best man because he's stuttering too much. That's fucking weird.
It's crazy.
That's insane.
Yeah, I don't think it was the right call. I think maybe it's just like, hey, maybe you could just do a speech and maybe not my best man.
Yeah, no, it's crazy to elevate. That almost feels like he was lying. It almost feels like he's trying to get you to be his best man slowly by being like, just be the least important groomsman. And then, oh man, someone cut the best man's tongue out. Well, I guess you got to be the best man and give a speech now. Okay, so you give this speech or what?
I'm sorry, what?
So you do this? Do you give the speech?
Yeah, dude. I fucking nailed it, too.
Yeah.
I nailed it, which is bizarre. I learned something about best man speeches that you don't even actually really even have to know this guy that well.
Yeah, that's
as long
bad.
As you just...
And that's the... By the way, so let me... Can I guess what's going on here? So you give this speech, okay? You give this speech, and, you nail it. You can't help yourself. You're a little ham. You want to crush the speech, so you fucking do a great job. People are like, wow, it's a big hit at the wedding, and but you're like, all right, well, whatever. We'll see each other at work. Maybe we'll get beers every once in a while. But you're like, well, it's like it's effectively like a one night stand. It's a friendship one night stand where he wants to get married, and you are like, well, I busted, but I'm good now. And now he's starting to guilt you about not hanging out. Is that what's going on?
That did happen through the course of like maybe 2019.
Okay.
2020, maybe a little bit into 2020. He's hit me up being like, hey, hope you're doing good in lockdown. Hope everything's okay.
He's trying to get some Zoom happy hours going.
Dude, honestly, it's fucking none of that. It's none of that. Like, okay, we weren't that close. Right. That's the craziest part, is that it's like, and then we get to the wedding and then I see the other groomsmen, and it's like his mechanic and like, dude. So I'm just like,
oh wow.
Basically what I boiled it down to is like, this guy doesn't have hardly any friends.
Right.
He's scraping the bottom of the barrel
tough, dude.
To fill out his groomsmen.
Damn, dude.
Mechanic.
He's got his mailman up there.
Yeah.
Oh fuck.
And so I guess my question is that like, I'm feeling this guilt like this. It's like 5 years later, and I'm feeling this guilt. Like, should I have been reaching out to him more? No. It's like, I think it means something that he wanted me to be his groomsman. Like, and am I just gonna like throw that away because I don't know? We just didn't really vibe all that much. He's like super into anime and shit, and that's just like not my bag.
I mean, listen, dude. You shouldn't feel guilty. He asked you to do so. I mean, where you should feel guilty is in accepting the best man thing. Like
I think you're right there.
That's where you did fuck up. You're like, all right, fuck it, I'll do it. Like borderline, you should feel guilty being a groomsman, but whatever. He kind of backs you into a corner. Yeah. You're like, fine, I'll be a. You're thinking you're gonna walk down the aisle with his ugly cousin. Who gives a fuck? But I mean, look, he asked you to do it. If he reaches out, it's one thing, but it's like, what would you say like you said, you guys were just work friends, right? Like, yeah, you like the guy, maybe you'd have lunch with them every once in a while. That's what we're talking about here?
That is what we're talking about here, is that at the time when I was working with this guy, like I had gone through like a big breakup, and then maybe that like bonded us because I would talk to him about this girl.
You were emotionally, you were pretty vulnerable, and he kind of got in there for a second.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, and get this. I think you're gonna love this, Stav. Okay. This was a fucking Star Wars themed wedding.
Oh hell yes! What were you? What'd you dress up as?
A fucking lightsaber while standing at the pew or whatever the fuck the stage is that the wedding happens on.
Oh,
I'm standing there, best man, with a lightsaber in my hand.
That's fucking sick. Damn. Did his wife have like fucking Leia buns?
Yeah. She had the fucking Leia buns. And you know, honestly, it's like, I think I would have hung out with him more if that wedding wasn't so fucking lame. Like, that was like the lamest wedding.
You didn't get any pussy at the Star Wars wedding, dude? You didn't eat out a bitch with a pussy like Chewbacca? Get some brown hairs in your teeth?
Dude, I brought my girlfriend to that wedding, and she was like, "What the fuck are we doing?"
Yeah,
here?
I mean, look. You might have overstepped a little bit, and like you probably shouldn't have accepted whatever. But like at this point, is he reaching out to you or no?
No, he's not reaching out to me at all. I'm just like, I hate myself, and this is just a thing that crosses my mind when I'm self-pitying and shit. Where I'm just like, and you fucking weren't that good of a friend to Robert.
Yeah, he cut it. Look, dude, fuck Robert. Who gives a fuck? Yeah. Like you can't be like letting somebody. He's not even guilting you. That's some shit you have to deal with. You clearly a people pleaser, obviously, and like you got to get that shit under control because this guy isn't even guilting you, and you're feeling guilty. It'd be one thing if he was like inviting you to his cookouts or what, and you just weren't. You were blowing him off constantly. If he was reaching out to you, I'd say throw him a bone every once in a while, but only when it's convenient. But if he's not even reaching out to you, it's really not your fucking place, dude. He overstepped a little bit. You probably made an error accepting being his fucking best man. But at the end of the day, and that's probably rooted in being a people pleaser to begin with. But at the end of the day, this is somebody who probably you should have attended his wedding at the time, right? You guys were that happens a lot, where you're close to someone at a time, where you're having a big life event, and a lot of people end up at somebody's wedding that they don't keep in touch with in the future. That's probably like 15% of people that go to weddings. That's who you should have been. You should have been a guy who was at his wedding, and when they're looking through the fucking when they're flipping through the fucking photo albums, they're like, oh yeah, oh, there's Mitch from The Office. Remember, he got dumped by that bitch, and we bonded over it.
Yeah.
Like that's what you should be. You shouldn't be his best man, and you both kind of owe a little bit of like it's both your fault, both of your faults a little bit, but. If he's not reaching out, you're fine. And if anything, don't feel guilty and work on why that's making you feel guilty. Work on your people-pleasing shit. Yeah. But you're good. You're absolved. You're absolved of all your guilt as far as me and Eldis are concerned.
Stavvy, thank you so much.
Yeah.
So what would you have done? What would you have done? So what would you do in that situation where this dude you don't know very well is like trying to give you this really special position in their life that you're not like, that you would never have reciprocated, like someone wants to be your best man.
I would honestly, I think what I would do is, I think there's different things you can do according to your situation. I actually just saw a girl talk about this, like on a TikTok about it that I thought was actually smart, where she's like, if somebody you're not that close with asks you to do this thing, you have a couple outs. One of them is like, hey, because these things tend to be pretty expensive, right? So it's like, look, I don't really have the money right now. I gotta
buy a lightsaber.
Yeah. I don't have a lightsaber money. I would probably say, I really appreciate you asking me. I'm really honored. Unfortunately, I'm just like too busy with my shit right now. I don't want your wedding to be like an afterthought for me. I think somebody who can actually, I definitely want to attend, but I don't know that I can, take part in all these other aspects of it. And I don't want to like take up a spot where somebody who can be, a part of the process along the way. That's probably how I would kind of gently reject something like that. And if it comes to the like best man thing, I would say, look, man, I would love to give a speech, but I think you and him are better friends, and I would feel kind of, I wouldn't feel right kind of taking his position because he's not a good public speaker, but I'm happy to give a speech. I'm happy to be a groomsman. That's kind of how I would have handled those two situations. And
like I got roped into bachelor party. I had to do the bachelor party planning and shit.
No, see that's like I would literally only do that. I was my brother's best man, and I would do it for my best friends, obviously. But like, there's like a handful of people in the world I would do that for, and a lot of and no one else. So. But look.
Yeah, I resented him the whole time. The whole time I'm like, I can't believe I'm fucking throwing a bachelor party for this guy I barely know.
You got to go to therapy and learn how to say no to people, and your whole life will be so much better. I promise you. But look, you're free. You're free of the guilt. We believe in you, buddy. Just say no a couple more times, and don't worry about this fucking guy. If he reaches out, don't give him the cold shoulder. But if he doesn't, you're free to go. So good luck, my friend, and hopefully you're not going to any fucking Tatooine themed baptisms anytime soon.
All right. Hey, thanks, man. I can't wait to hear you talking shit about me after.
Yeah, I will. Hang up so I can get started.
All right, bye, Dylan.
Oh yeah, my audio didn't work. That's gonna be really soul crushing for me to hear you guys shit talking me like that.
All right, Dill. We'll talk to you soon, buddy.
All right, thanks, Stav.
See you, dude.
Bye.
What a pussy.
Yeah. No. What a fucking idiot. Who would say yes to that?
I know.
You show up to this freak's fucking Star Wars wedding like a total moron.
Should I come to your wedding dressed as Obi-Wan Kenobi?
I was going to say he stole my wedding idea. That's fucking weird.
Damn, I can't wait to make your kids love Star Wars, so you have to take them to Star Wars
God.
Shit. Eldis is the biggest Star Wars hater in the galaxy. Get another one going here, Eldis. Let's try and get all three left of these people in.
All right. Matt, are you there?
Hello. How's it going?
Good. How are
What's
you?
up, Matt?
Hello. Doing good. How are you?
Good, baby. What's going on? Talk to us.
Oh, okay. So, so a few months ago, basically, like I've had a situation where I've had to kick my mom out of my life. I lost my girlfriend. I had to move back home. I lost a job and other stuff like that.
Damn.
I dated this girl for about a year and a half. We were around each other like 24/7.
Fuck, dude.
Like that includes working together.
No, you fucking dummy.
I moved back. Yeah, that includes after I moved back. I moved to the other side of the world to be with my mom. But it kind of catastrophically just like didn't go well.
Jesus,
she has some mental problems.
She what?
She has some mental problems.
Yeah,
I tried to make it work out, but I came back, worked with my ex. She treated me like trash. I left that job 2 weeks after. She starts messaging me wanting to like basically smash.
You're a weak man, man. Is that what it is?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, she comes over. We do our thing. I guess she kind of, probably made a move that I shouldn't have, because we always would kind of be like wild with each other.
Okay.
And, it just didn't go well after that.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to her for 4 months. Since then, I've been doing really well for myself.
That's good.
Made a bunch of friends and stuff like that. Like I've been doing quite a lot. But in the past week, she's like, added me back on social media.
Matt.
And weirdly,
you don't even need to call in,
Matt. Said nothing.
Matt, you didn't even need to fucking make this phone call, and you know that, Matt. You know the answer, you fucking dumb fuck. You fucking idiot. You're finally free of her clutches, thanks to trying to put a thumb up her ass. That set you free. And now 4 months later, you're finally rebuilding, and you want to let it all go away. What, you haven't gotten pussy since then?
No, that's not the case.
Well, so then what the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
Come on, dude. You know the answer to this. You don't need to call in. You're free, brother. Stay free. And look, I get it. I know how it goes. It's tough saying no to ex because Benny Buttcheeks, a friend of the show, our consigliere here at Stavvy Baby Enterprises. Ben has a point that fucking an ex is the best because it's this weird thing that's both new. It's familiar but new. It's a little forbidden, but not in a fucked up way. It's like it's a bad idea, so that makes it hotter. Plus, you've already fucked them, but things have changed. Like, it is on paper great. I fully get it. But in your case, it will ruin your life. In your case, you are doing well. You are finally doing well. And let's just look. I don't mean to put my fucking Freud hat on, but your mom is insane, and you have a bunch of codependent bitches with good pussy that want to ruin your life. You don't think there's a little something to that, Matt? Why that's so fucking tempting for you? You don't think that's doing a little something for the little baby in you that wants to fuck his mom? You don't think some of that's going on, you motherfucker? Matt, go to therapy. Do not fuck this woman. You're doing well. Free yourself of women with BPD, whether they be your mother or whether they be your ex. Okay, just stay. I know where you are. I know it's dangerous. I know it's so tempting, but it is bad for you, dude. Do whatever you need not to fuck this ex for. Listen, call back in 6 months, man. Tell me how your life is going, and if you still want to fuck your ex. You won't. Shit will be good for you. And if you do, that means something is fucked up in your brain that you have to take care of. But I think you need to stay away from her at all costs. And if you're not in therapy, you should be, because, first of all, a falling out with a parent is a fucked up thing for anyone, and you should go to therapy to work through that. But I have a sneaking suspicion that your dating life and the problems in your dating life might be a little intertwined with that falling out with your mom, okay? I'm not a genius. I've just, that's just my hunch. So this is one of the most open and shut questions we have ever gotten on this program. Okay? This is one of the most, I don't want you to feel like I'm rushing you off the show, but this is one of the most obvious questions anyone has ever asked. And I'm glad you called in so you could hear the urgency in my voice. I'm like you're a guy on the top of a building, and you're thinking about jumping off and into your ex-girlfriend's pussy, and I'm at the bottom with a bullhorn. It's like, don't do it, Matt. You have so much to live for, Meanwhile, Eldis is scaling the building with Spider-Man. I'm trying to create a diversion so Eldis can tackle you into the safety of the building. So please don't do this, okay? You know the answer. No, I bet you haven't told your friends about this, because they would fucking slap you in the face if you said it, right?
I've verbally been slapped a couple times.
Yeah, probably. Dude, don't do this. Everyone in your life is telling you not to. You will personally be disrespecting me, Eldis, and the entire Stavvy's World family if you do this. So you can't. Your life's going good, right? You've gotten pussy. You're making friends. You're rebuilding. Do not fucking, destroy it, which you will. There's no way to do this in a way that doesn't negatively impact you. I promise you.
Yeah, Matt, you sometimes I like to be the devil on the shoulder. I think there's always a little room in life for some messy ass behavior here and there, but
right.
even I can't even tongue in cheek, like I can't do it. Like, this is open and shut.
It would weigh on Eldis's conscience to even joke about you fucking your ex-girlfriend. Do you understand that? Do you understand how much it takes to make an Albanian feel morality? Fuck, holy shit. All right, so
stay strong, brother.
Stay strong,
Don't
brother.
give in.
All right, and listen, call in give us a 2-month update. Hopefully, you have not fucking your ex, okay? And just tell us how your life's going. All right.
All right.
All right, buddy.
Shall do.
All right. Good luck, peace. Pal. We're rooting for you. You want anything from SVL? George just texted me. Chicken stick, the souvlaki place. You're good. Okay.
Okay. Next up, the Hoovy? Hello, the Hoovy?
Hoovy.
The Hoovy. Can't hear you. Is your phone on mute? Is your laptop on mute?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, what's up?
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's going on?
Nothing much. Just moving back into college. You can call me Liam if you want.
Liam. All right, baby. What's going
on? Nothing much. So I turned 21 soon. I'll just give you the rundown, I guess. But I turned 21 soon. And all my friends and my partner and my parents all want to do something the day of my birthday. And an extra, added layer of spice is that my parents and I kind of have shitty relationships. So I'm being pulled in a lot of different directions. And I know that, as someone who doesn't get along great with their parents, it's kind of fucked up. So I was hoping to see what you had to say from the jump. I know it's kind of vague, but it's just like,
So you turned 21 and both your parents and you said your partner want to do something with you for your birthday?
Yeah, and my friends do too, but the problem with that is my partner wants to keep it special. Okay. So they like, she doesn't want it to be like and your friends are here too. And my parents are separated, so they don't want to be involved with each other too. Okay. So,
well, can I ask you something? What do you want? It's not your fucking partner's birthday. It's your fucking birthday. You know what I mean? Yeah. Which, by the way, kind of interesting that everyone is pulling you in these directions. It's these patterns that it seems like you probably were a little piece of tug of war between your parents your whole life, if I had to guess.
Oh, you don't even know the half of it, brother.
Yeah, see, I can tell. See how easy that was to tell? Because of how guilty you feel about it's your birthday and four groups that are not you. And what you're worried about is not what do I want to do on my birthday, but it's which of these four groups in my life do I please? It's your whole brain is thinking about like who am I gonna hurt with these decisions, not what do I actually want. So you're young, right? This kind of shit is all gonna start coming up. You're gonna start figuring this shit out, sooner and sooner. But yeah, well, let's start there, buddy. What do you want to do?
That's a great question. Honestly, so my dad's kind of a heavy drinker. So honestly, I kind of just want to like do edibles and go to the aquarium.
Nice.
Some
sounds
basic
fun.
Dumbass stoner shit. But
yeah, that sounds fun.
Everyone's making my birthday a big deal about, oh, you're turning 21, you have to do this thing. And like, I don't even like drinking.
I see. Well, dude. Okay,
go ahead.
Let's start there, right? You know what you want to do. You just told us. It sounds awesome, by the way. That's a sick day. Like, edibles, the aquarium is a fucking great way to go about things. And so I think what you can do is, to your friends, you could just be like, look, I'm not really trying to get fucked. Like, if you're like, my dad was an alcoholic, so I don't really drink. Sure, you're 21, so someone's going to call you a pussy, but fuck them. You know what I mean? You'd be like, they're your friends, right? So it's like, hey, suck my dick, I don't want to. And then I think like, was your dad? Your dad's like, hey, you want to get fucked up and drive me home for old time's sake? Like,
that's basically what it is. That's his move. Is he'll like go out to dinner, get kind of shit faced, and be like, you're driving. So he's a.
So dude, look, this is, I think, and here's the thing, you got I think working on, this is going to be a struggle for you because it was a struggle for me. Like, it sounds like you got a similar thing going where it's like, you just want to make the people around you happy, but I think you have to figure out what it is you want. And this is a nice little practice round because you have the added ammo of it being your birthday, right? Like, you kind of get to be like, look, and this is it's almost like standing up for yourself with training wheels, right? Because you can always fall back on the fact that it's your birthday. But I think in general, it sounds like you need to start, kind of, saying no to people and working on kind of setting up your boundaries and all this kind of shit, which is very difficult, especially when you came from a very chaotic family, right? So I'm not judging you. I'm just letting you know this is going to be kind of a bit of a struggle that if I were you, I would go to therapy to work on that. I mean, I went to therapy in college to work on guilt issues, which is that's where I first went, and which kind of led to me finding out these issues about like people pleasing and all this other shit. So I think what you do is, fairly simple. Everyone wants to do their own thing. You could say like, you say to your partner like, look, like, I mean, with your partner you could be like, hey, I do want to do something, because it doesn't sound like you're against doing something with her, but you'd be like, can we do it a different day? On my actual birthday, all I want to do is like, I just want to go to the aquarium and get fucked up with my friends, and then, maybe the next day we can get a nice dinner or something like that.
Right.
And then with your parents, it's a matter of being like, deciding what you fucking want. Like, do you even want, like, your dad's a big fucking drinker and he wants to hang out on your 21st birthday? That's fucking weird, dude. Like, you could be like, no.
Yeah.
What does your mom want to do? What's her deal?
So she's like, I was listening to an episode where you're talking about Charleston being, posh racism central, and that's kind of where that's kind of her zone, is like going to a bourbon bar and just smoking a stogie and drinking a bourbon, which is odd to me, but so she wants to do something like that. Mm-hmm. And she has a hard time taking no for an answer when it comes to me being like, no, fuck off, I want to do my own thing.
Right, of course.
And the reason I kind of wanted to come to you specifically was because I've, been in a very similar thing with her as this instance. And that time I was trying to, draw a line in the sand and be like, no, I don't want to do that. And then it kind of just happened anyways.
Right,
so.
right. Yeah, dude, well, look, that's the hard thing is like, if you have a parent that's like that, so it's funny because your dad's a heavy drinker, but he seems like the chiller one of the two. He seems like
yeah.
He seems like if you had to pick one, you'd actually want to hang out with your dad, is what it sounds like.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Yeah, I know.
No. I mean, listen. That's again, none of this shit is your fault. And so I think, like, this is tough because you're also pretty young, right? So it's like you haven't really had the like. You haven't had like the reps with this shit, and you don't really have much of a. I mean, you're beginning to get your sense of independence, right? But like, I'm guessing they pay for a lot of your shit, right? Like,
yeah.
That's kind of the hard thing here, dude. Is like, you kind like, realistically, if your mom is this much of a fucking hard ass and she does kind of pay for your shit, and it's just like, you can be like, hey, I'd like to do, you can work on being like, this doesn't sound great. Like, I mean, that's the other thing. How does that sound in terms of like hanging out with your mom? Like, what does she want? She just wants to like, on your actual birthday, or does she just want to take you out one day for your birthday?
No, she's been pretty like vehement that it's on my birthday. Like, she's been hounding me about it for like the last year, where she's like, I didn't get to see you for your like the day of your birthday, and I was literally there the day after to hang out with her.
That's fucked up, dude. That sucks.
And yeah, so I graduated high school and she moved to Charleston, and that's like 5 hours from me. And she's like, why are you not here? So it's just,
she wants you to go there for your birthday.
Pretty much.
Well, okay. The good news is you just don't have to do that. That's the good news here. The bad news is there will be annoying fallout from it. But you're kind of, okay, I hate to say this because it sucks, but you're kind of in the like building your case phase of disowning your mother. You're
cool.
Like, I'd love to tell you could just fucking tell her to go fuck herself right now, but you're still in school. Until you like fully kind of like cut the cord and are kind of on your own a little bit, it's kind of hard to fully, whatever, but you could be like, hey mom, like, it was my birthday. I'm going to stick around where I'm going to school, but I can't wait to get that or whatever. When I see you, we'll get that bourbon, whatever the fuck. Like,
right.
And the thing is, you just have to start doing shit for yourself, bro. And like, even, I don't know what the situation is with your partner, but hopefully they're cool with you being like, oh, I'd rather just have mushrooms with the fellas and then we get dinner the next day, right? Because if they're not, then, it's like, well, are you just recreating the same kind of bullshit that you grew up in, which is not your, a lot of us do that shit, but.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna fuck with that.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's weird. I just struggle with specifically boundaries, I guess, with my parents. Like everyone else, I'm like, you can go fuck off.
Right.
And that seems to be, your kind of zone. So I wanted to come to the,
dude,
the expert.
I mean, I will say that it's like, it's a little tougher because like, I mean, I think it's hard because you just have to, it's not that it's difficult to explain on paper. It's that these are such emotionally difficult relationships that it becomes complicated. Like on paper, all it is, hey, thanks. That sounds awesome, but I think I'm just gonna, it's my 21st birthday. I'm just gonna stick around college and we'll get that bourbon another time. And if you said that to anyone else and they were like, what the fuck? You'd be like, if they're like, what the fuck? How dare you? I want to inconvenience you and make your birthday all about me, and you're going to be an asshole about it. If anyone who wasn't your mom said that to you or behaved that way, you would be like, fuck you, I'm never talking to you again. Right?
Right.
But it's just the fact that it is your mom, that she thinks that she doesn't have to behave like a regular human being. Right? And so like all you can do right now, I think, is like start these little, all you can do is do what you want. And look, I'm not saying be disrespectful, right? But it doesn't sound like you're doing that. You're talking about your birthday and like wanting to do what you want.
Right.
And so all you can do is treat them like human beings, like you would treat anyone else. And when they're being insane, be like, you are being crazy right now. You're being completely unfair to me. I really prefer if you would just be reasonable. They'll say no. And then you'll say, hey, if you keep acting like this, it's very hard to have you in my life. They'll try and steamroll that and gaslight you there. And then all you can do then is stick to your guns and not call their bluff or not let them call your bluff and just actually kind of cut them out for a while. And now if they hear you out even a little bit, you do kind of have to meet parents halfway. If they are making any kind of effort, you kind of owe it to them a little bit. But if they just continue not to make any effort and they kind of disregard everything you're saying and they're being completely unreasonable and behave in a way that any other human being wouldn't behave, then you just kind of have to take some time away, put them in essentially timeout for a little bit, and also like do some thinking on yourself. And I think also, like, dude, honestly, at your age, I kind of, without making it a big thing, got further away from my family and focused on my own stuff. And, I lived in Baltimore, but I just didn't see them for a couple years just because I was like so about I was living with them and then I moved away and I actually saw them less then than I do now where I live, in New York. So I think it's a little bit of a natural thing to kind of get a little distance, but that's all you can do, man, is like apply the same standards of how you want to be treated by anyone else to your parent. Like you have to have standards for what you want. And look, you should have fair standards, right? You shouldn't hold them to like crazy, expectations, but just apply the same standards. And if they're not going to behave that way, then you just don't, you're going to be like, well, look, you're just kind of disrespecting me. I just don't let people talk to me that way, even if they're my fucking parents. And so, and it's important not to kind of stoop to their level, not to make it a fight, not to, whatever. But it's very, very, very difficult because these people can push your buttons, right? That's the hardest fucking thing. And all you can do, dude, I think if you just do it, especially on your birthday, do what you want to do, right? And then deal with the fallout as it comes, and you're just gonna have to just get better about those boundaries and about setting the stuff. And if they don't respect that, and look, if they don't respect that at all, you're just going to have to kind of put them on ice for a little bit, I think, right? But also, you should go to therapy. You should discuss this with a fucking real professional because, like, you know, all people are different and parents are different, and I don't know the exact nuance. I think I can guess with your mom. Like, I think I know what's going on. But I don't feel comfortable being like, if she's being a bitch, never speak to your mother again, right? Like, I can't tell you that. I can't tell you that. That is something that you have to. I think if you go to therapy to discuss the ways your upbringing has affected you, I think you will understand a little bit of the path forward in your specific situation better than, you know, we can get to the bottom of right here. But at least for your birthday, just do whatever the fuck you want, and everyone else has to fucking deal with it, man. Like, you don't, like, this is a classic thing of you know, standing up for yourself a little bit. So go to that aquarium. Don't drink too much. You don't want to fucking drink. Your dad's liver's too swollen for you to have a good time. So just fucking chill out, dude.
Thank you.
But yeah, dude, good luck. Hope you have a great birthday, and
thank you, man.
I hope your friends and your girl aren't dickheads, because then you have bigger problems. If you can cut it off at your parents, everyone's parents are fucking dicks in some way or another. You just don't want it to seep into the rest of your life. So good luck, big dog. Happy birthday.
Thank you. You guys rock. Thank you so much.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, have a good rest of your day.
What do we have? One more?
We got one more.
Let's do it.
Peach Farmer, thank you for the patience. You're now on.
Peach Farmer, talk to us.
What up, Stav?
What's up, you little Peach Farmer?
What up, Eldis?
What's up?
I'm a young guy. I'm 22.
Okay.
I've never really kind of been in a relationship before. And I've been talking to this girl for about a year now, and by God, she's everything I ever wanted and more. And she's got a lot of shit going on right now.
Oh, does she?
I'm 22. I don't know if I'm really mature enough to pursue, you know, eternal relationship or whatever the fuck this might turn out to be.
Yeah.
So should I just stay in her life and not, like, fuck around, or what?
Okay, give me a little background here. You said you've been talking to this girl for a year. You guys are, when you say talking to, you mean casually dating? What is talking to? Or do you mean literally you talk on the phone?
I talk on the phone, and then we go out on weekends to bars and shit.
Oh, no, and you've smashed?
No.
Ooh. buddy. Okay.
Fine.
We've been where you are, my friend. You're in love with this girl, and have you made out any inkling that you might get some pussy? So you got to be honest with us. You got to be honest with your pal, Stav and Eldis.
Yeah, she is, because she's warming up to me, but because she's just a cold woman from the
brother. What is this bitch frozen under? Is she Encino Man? How fucking much warming up? It's been a year, motherfucker. What are you, thawing her from the permafrost? I'm sorry, dude. I hate to be this.
I'm patient.
Yeah. Are you patient? I got bad news for you. No one is that patient. No one's patient enough for this to work out, because there is no world where by just sitting around you get. I mean, I guess there's some world, but it's highly unlikely. This is coming from someone who was you. I'm not judging you. I'm just letting you know this is how I spent my high school, right? And this is how I spent my I was in a weird, actually literally a girl I was supposed to go to prom with. We talked for basically like a year, made out at a party once. I grabbed her, you know, I felt her titties a couple times. She never so much as glanced at my penis. But like at the same time where I was like, yeah, she's just warming up with me, she was fucking other dudes the whole time. She was getting finger popped at parties while I'm like, you know, trying not to use all my nights and weekend minutes on her. This is how old I am. This is how different of a generation we grew up in. So I hate to be the bearer of bad news here, but you are in a very tough situation where you kind of have to. Does she know that you're trying to fuck her? Or does she think you're friends?
No, she doesn't know that I'm trying to fuck her. She knows that I'm trying to be in a relationship with her.
So you're courting her like this is, you know, like you're in a fucking Emily Dickinson novel. I
was raised by a man whose favorite childhood memory was when his dad said he wasn't going to grow cotton. So, yeah.
Okay. So you're saying you're old-fashioned or his dad was a slave? I have a hard time. I have a hard time following. I'm sorry.
I have old-fashioned senses.
Old-fashioned. Okay. So you're this is a courtship, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think just gut reaction here, when you're like when you're hanging out with like a girl for that long and like you're interested in her, you're doing like date activities regularly together, like going to bars and getting fucked up and shit. Yeah. And you know, there's just no inkling of romance or interest there.
Right.
You're
how does it
feel?
You're
dead in the water.
Now, when you say so you're old-fashioned, right? Which, okay, we get your perspective. Now, let me ask you this. Are you so old-fashioned that if she grabbed your cock, you'd bat it away?
No.
Okay, so you being old-fashioned really isn't what's the problem here is, right? It's kind of her. We'll flip it around, right? So I think I'm not even saying you're completely dead in the water, because I'll also admit that my first, like, a girl I dated in college, she was in a relationship and we were, quote, friends, and we talked for like a long time, and it ended up that after a year, she broke up with her boyfriend and we started dating, like, whatever. But I'll tell you this, that was an excruciating time for me, and when I look back, it hurt me how long it took. So it might even be that, like, do you think she's not dating other people right now?
Yeah, because she's going through some weird shit right now with her family.
And that's all well and good. She might be getting
fucked, but I don't think she's dating.
I don't know, bro. Look, people are going through stuff. In fact, a lot of people, when they're going through stuff, like the escape of getting pounded out once in a while. It's just the way things go. I think more than likely there's some affection here. And I'm not saying you can't there's not a world where you might be able to fuck this girl, but you definitely, as two experts in the friend zone, are squarely in the friend zone here. That, like, she likes you, she might care for you a little more than a regular friend, and you're just trying to wait around and hopefully things break your way. The problem is that's not a guaranteed proposition, and even if it is, it's kind of like it's a Pyrrhic victory, where it's like what you've given up for what you get. Once, even if you do start dating her, you'll kind of look back and be like, fuck, like, was she dating other people? Was she leading me on? Why did she decide to, you know? I think you kind of owe it to yourself to make your intentions clear here and be like, hey, and look, whatever, you spent the year getting to know this person, you clearly care for her, you have a good time together. I think you owe it to yourself to have the hard conversation. Like, you're hoping to backslide into a relationship without any kind of, like, having to make a move, is what it feels like. And I'm only saying that because that's how I wanted to do things, because I was a coward at your age as well, right? Like, you kind of have to make a move, brother, and you kind of have to learn one way or another where you stand. And I hate to say it, but that she's going through a lot of shit with her family, that sounds like a preemptive rejection. She's laying the groundwork for a rejection because she can sniff. She's getting the vibes here of, like, this guy likes me. I like him. I want to.
She already knows. We've already had the conversation.
Ooh, and she said what?
She's like, I really care about you.
You're toast.
Like, she's told me, yeah, really cared about me.
I love you, buddy, but you're toast. Let Georgian. Dude, you got it. You have to just stop hanging out with her, dude. I know that sucks. I know that's very difficult, but for yourself, if you've had the conversation, which is good for you, that's a hard conversation to have. But once you have that convo, it becomes a binary thing where if it's a yes on her part, great, you start dating. If it's a no, then you got to move on, or you find yourself in the situation where you'll continue to develop feelings, but she'll take you for granted as somebody. She'll see you with each passing day that after that conversation, you are okay with this situation. She will see you less and less as a viable romantic partner. You will be deeper into the friend zone. I'm only saying this because it has happened to me in my youth, and it's good that you had that conversation, but you got to kind of move on. And look, there's a possibility where if you move on and all this attention that you were giving her and all the good time, I mean, she's hanging out with you, right? She's clearly not trying to blow you off completely. There's an opportunity that once all that is gone from her life and she realizes she took you for granted and she's like, hey, you know what? Maybe I should just give it a whirl. Maybe I should jack this guy off for a change. Who gives a fuck? That's happened to me too, where I've had that conversation with someone and she's like, I don't think I want to date right now. And I've said, great, no worries. Hit me up if that ever changes. 2/3 of the time it doesn't change, but 1/3 of the time it does change. When you just stand up for yourself, you make your thing clear, and you're like, look, no worries. I still like you as a person, all good, but this situation is just not good for me. And it's not good for you. You're just getting deeper and deeper, and it's not on your current trajectory. It's just not going to end the way you want, and you're only going to get like sadder and sadder. You seem like a nice kid. You know what I mean? You owe it to yourself to kind of learn from this, to kind of put your intentions out there. Not like a dickhead. Don't go fucking, Andrew Tate with it and be like, I'm a high value man. I deserve pussy after 2 weeks. But for you just have to be like, look, I'm looking to date, and if you don't like that, that's cool. But I'm all set. I can't really be friends. I can't be hanging out all the time, and that's tough. But the running theme in Stavvy's world is that the road to a victory is littered with losses, and the more losses, the closer you are to a victory. And so I think you found somebody that you like. You found the type of person you think you can be with. And I think you can use this as a learning experience and just say, look, from now on, I have to be more upfront about how I feel. I can't let my worries about getting rejected stop me from going for what I want, because ultimately it will just kind of hurt more. When it finally goes through your head that this is not going to work. And look, there's a small chance you say, hey, I like hanging out with you, but I can't do anything platonic anymore. If you change your mind and you want to go on a date or something, let me know. Like I said, that's happened to me a couple times. I'm not going to fucking fluff you up and say it's the majority of the time. That's a minority, but it is a possibility. We just got to be honest with you here as your friends. We could tell you, no, dude, keep wearing her down. But that's when you become one of these weird guys. It's like, this bitch owes me pussy. I put in 85 hours a week with her. You know what I mean?
No,
like
she doesn't. But the
I know
thing is, she wants a horse, and I know I'm the only guy she's talking to that has land for a horse.
You motherfucker! What do you think? This is the 1800s, you motherfucker! You're trying to get livestock to get you pussy
around here. Nobody's gonna be able to buy it anymore, man.
Okay, you are in dangerous territory right now. Where you're like, yeah, she might not like me, but I've got a horse. Do you understand? Like, if she wanted to fuck you, she would have fucked you, horse or not. She's gonna fuck some guy that lives in a fucking studio apartment, dude. Like, it's not. She might want a horse, but that's down the line. Yeah, you. This is how much you know about her. How you know so much of her desires. You know too much about like her desires and too little about what her breasts look like. You know what I mean? Like, you know too much about her without seeing her nude. It's just tough, bro. You're in a tough zone. I know you're clinging on to like, well, the horse thing. That's my in. At the end of the day, it's not about what you can provide for somebody. It really is. We're past when you buy a wife with livestock. Now it's like people just have these connections, and either they have them or they don't, right? How many people end up with someone that like can't really provide exactly what they want, but they have an emotional connection? You got to get out of here, babe. I promise you. I know it's tough. I know it hurts.
It's not noble to wait idly by and like wait for her to make a decision or talk herself into sucking your dick or something. It's noble to be brave and just tell her how you feel and like draw boundaries and step away. Like if it doesn't work for you.
Truly the alpha move is hearing no and being like, okay, and never thinking and never pressing it again. And if she wants, making contact again, but if not, she's out of your life and you move on to the next. And that's a lesson. I'm telling you, I wish I had internalized a lot. I wish I had thought about that at 22, because that kind of shit put me, thinking that kind of set me back a while in my life. So look, dude, if you want to have one more conversation with her, that's fine. But ultimately, I think you just got to be like, hey, I think, in fact, you don't really even need to have a conversation with her. You need to be like, hey, I've really enjoyed, spending time with you. I think you're a great person, but I've just realized a platonic friendship is not what I'm looking for. I think we'd be great. I think it'd be great to date. I'd love, I'm very interested in that. If that's something you're interested in someday, let me know. But for the time being, I think I'm just going to do my own thing. I think that's what you got to do, pal. And I know that's not an easy thing to hear, but that's the cold hard truth from your buddy Stav and Eldis.
Thanks, buds.
No worries, buddy.
Being naive.
No, it's all right. We've all been there. That's the thing.
We've been there.
We've all been there. So don't beat yourself up. And like we said, this is a loss. You're close to a win. You gotta fucking. There's some bitches that want to ride a horse that will suck you off, dude. Just without, and then you can be like, hey, by the way, I got enough land for a horse, and then you could go out and take her. You could go take her out for a ride. It's probably not this girl, but there is a girl out there for you, my friend.
I like how Peach Farmer has been waiting around a year for her, and he also has been waiting around 2 hours to get on the live call show.
To just get crushed. To just have his biggest fears completely fucking confirmed. We're sorry, buddy. We love you.
Thank you for waiting.
Thank you for waiting, and leave your DM Eldis your address. We'll send you some merch. We'll send you a couple shirts for your worries, buddy. That's gonna do it for us, buddy. And listen. Keep us updated, even if it's just a voicemail or something. Let us know. Let us know how the dating hunt is going, because I want you out there, pal. All right.
Yeah. Hey, do you have a PO box I can send you products to?
We don't, but we're gonna set one up. So we'll post it on the Patreon when we do set it up.
All right, word.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Appreciate y'all.
Appreciate you, my friend. Good luck out there.
Wow,
what a cute kid. Damn, that's tough.
This is the longest episode yet. We're at 240 right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Well,
237.
Damn, two-parter. Damn, that was a long ass ep. Well, look, we love you guys. We wanted to get everybody who called in. Maybe we'll do a 2-part episode. Anyway, thanks for calling in, and we'll be back soon. We're doing a Kush Brothers in like fucking way too soon. God damn, this is too much podcasting in one day. Anyway, talk to you soon. Love you guys. Bye-bye.